Fall is my favorite season. The changing of the leaves, the crisp cool air, and who could forget about all the delicious treats? That is why I'm going to spend 100 days building a fall base with all the things we need to survive in Minecraft, while keeping it cozy, of course. So kick back, relax, grab a cup of hot chocolate, and enjoy the journey while we explore a world equipped with beautiful fall biomes. So here we are, day 1 in a fresh new fall world. The sun is shining, the air is crisp, and I've got my cozy fall sweater on. I am so ready to survive here for 100 days. And like every brand new Minecraft world, our adventure begins by punching a tree. So with all of these birch logs, we are going to get ourselves a crafting table, and we'll make ourselves some starter tools. So with a wooden axe and a pickaxe, I say we explore and see what's around here. I've got to say, it feels so nice being surrounded by all of these fall trees. Fall is truly my favorite season. The weather starts to cool so I can wear hoodies again. The chaos of summer is over, and although that's really fun, I really do enjoy settling back into a routine. And of course, fall activities are so fun. From being able to cozy up in a warm blanket with a cup of hot chocolate and watching a movie, to going outside on a crisp fall day for a nice walk. And of course, stopping on the way home at a market for some fall treats like apple pie. What can I say? I truly thrive in the fall. I mean, I think it's a guarantee that it's going to be a really cozy time in this world. Now, with all this fall talk, I can't forget that I need to gather things up in order to survive the first few nights. I'm going to start by gathering up this stone so I can upgrade my tools. Working with wooden tools really isn't the greatest, so we might as well upgrade right off the bat. There we go, a fresh set of stone tools, and I think we're good to explore a bit more. So there's a couple things that we're gonna need for basic survival. Food, of course, and I'd really like to get a bed sorted. Trying to survive the night in Minecraft with literally no armor, food, or any other basic resources is a little scary. Ooh, there's some caves here. Maybe I could collect some coal for torches and maybe some iron. That is if these caves lead anywhere. They all seem to be dead ends. Well, that looks promising, but also terrifying. Ooh, a waterfall. That's perfect. That should get me down into this cave safely. So upon finding that waterfall, I carefully made my way down to find some coal and iron. Found the iron, and it looks like we've got a good pocket of coal here as well. I also noticed some dripstone in these caves, which we could make a lava farm out of in the future. That way we have a consistent fuel source. Well, that was a huge pocket of coal, which is perfect because we need as much as we can get. Once I had gotten the coal, I gathered up a few more pieces of iron I saw and decided to head back up. Ooh, night's beginning to fall, which means the mobs are gonna come out. I do see a sheep over there, however, are there more because I need 3 wool? Think it's best to play it safe by crafting a furnace and making some shears. Where you at, buddy? Ah, there you are. Oh no, just one? There's more sheep over there, but they're literally surrounded by mobs. I think I'm just gonna wait for this guy to eat a little bit more grass and then shear him again. Oh, he's munching? All I need is more than one, please. Yes, we got 3 wool, perfect. So with the exact amount of wool I needed, I made myself a bed and went to sleep for the night. And that brings us into a beautiful morning on day 2, where, I think I'm gonna have to solve my hunger. Don't worry, sheep. You helped me out, so I will spare you. All right, let's grab our stuff and get out of here, because I think I'd like to get exploring so we can find a good spot for a base. Whoa, look at this ruined portal. That is so cool. So for those of you who may be wondering why everything looks the way it does, I'm playing with Mizunos resource pack. This is a pack that I actually haven't really explored much myself. However, one of my friends, Frog, has used Mizunos in a lot of her series, so I've seen quite a bit of how the resource pack works. I feel like it fits the fall vibe perfectly, so I'm really excited to be using it. Now, speaking of fall, the only other thing I've added to this world is a fall resource pack which changes all the leaves and adds on a couple more fall themed things. I'll be sure to put the name of it in the description as well. Ooh, now what is this plains area? This looks nice. Although I typically prefer building in forests, I think the look of this grass in the plains feels more fall. During the fall, the grass would of course die out, and I think it fits more in theme with what we're going for. This area is also very expansive and very flat, which means it'd be pretty easy to build on. Plus, we've got the cave close by over there, and lots of trees so we can easily build. Have I already found my spot? Was it that easy? Huh. Maybe it was. Well, if that's the case, I'm gonna set down my stuff right here, and I think I better sort out my food. Now, I'm not gonna bother with any of the animals just yet, because I'd like to get them in a pen so we can also gather up some wool, leather, and all of that stuff. So I think I'm gonna go the classic route of gathering up some fish. Look at these little salmon. They're so cute. Oh, they're actually kind of terrifying when you cook them though. I don't like that. Still gonna eat it though. Once I filled up on food, I went back into the river to continue gathering up salmon. Ooh, cows. More over there too. Majestic looking. Also the Mizunos cows, chef's kiss. Adorable. Here we go. Jackpot. While gathering salmon, I had ventured pretty far out, so I decided to see what else was around. Well, it's raining and my sweater is getting soaked, but I found a village. This is good. This is pretty close by to me too. How about we snoop around a little bit to see what they've got? And let me tell you, I ended up finding quite a few goodies in here. Lots of food, some emeralds. They seem to have a pretty good supply of stuff. The only thing they seemed to be missing was a lock on their chest, so I couldn't steal their stuff. Taking all the stuff from the villagers was pretty exhausting, so I decided to head to bed for the night. And that brought me into day 3. Whoa, check out the golems. They look so cool. Honestly, the villagers look pretty cool too. Like, look at their shirts. Those are nice. Also, nice hat, buddy. You're looking fly. Still gonna take your stuff though. I've got a pretty decent amount of stuff from this village. All donated to me by the villagers, of course. I didn't take it. It's good to know that we have this place close by because honestly, it'd be easy for us to set up like an iron farm if we need one. We could always come back for trades if we need to. So I'm quite happy that we found this. However, I think it's time for me to go home. So we're back home and I think I've got to cook myself up a little bit more food and try to organize some of this inventory. And by that, I mean toss it into a chest so I can't see it. I'll deal with it later, I promise. While I wait for that food to cook, I think I'm gonna start chopping down some trees. I'm not exactly sure what I want to build with just yet, but regardless, we're gonna need this for crafting other things as well. So I spent the afternoon gathering up wood in the forest. I've still got some time left in the day, and I think it would be smart to get a temporary farm going by the river. That way we've got some extra food if we need it, but more importantly, we'll be able to start breeding more animals. We'll pop down some wheat seeds, get some carrots planted, and some potatoes as well. All right, we've got all the crops that we collected planted, and I think that's a good start. Ooh, also there's some sugarcane over here. Let's start getting this replanted because we're gonna need a bunch if we want to enchant. With only a little bit more time left in the evening, I cooked up some food and chopped down a few more trees. And that brings us into day 4, where we've got some options for what we could do today. Now, I'm pretty much in need of every type of resource. I could use some stone and iron from the caves. I need blocks to build with. The options for what we could do today are pretty much endless. Now, we have a pretty big cave close by, so I know we have access to things like stone and iron when we need it. What I don't have, however, are all the different types of wood. In other words, I'm missing spruce. And I can't possibly build up a base without it, or could I? Nah, I'm gonna go find some spruce. So off I went to see what other biomes were around. I decided the easiest thing to do would be to take the boat and follow the river, which eventually led me into a vast ocean with not much around. But eventually a shoreline appeared in front of me. We've got some sand. We've got spruce. Ooh, and dark oak. Look at these turtles. They're so cute. All right, so we have a big day ahead of us. Not only do we need to collect a bunch of saplings so we can grow these trees at home, but there's tons of other useful blocks for us in this giant taiga. Like mossy cobble, for example. Oh, hello? I don't think it's a good idea for you to be following me. Yep, bet you regret that one, don't ya? So with that zombie out of the way and a full day ahead of me, I got to work collecting as much spruce and mossy cobble as I could. The sun is going to be setting really soon, and classic me, I forgot my bed, but I also really don't want to go home just to sleep and then have to waste time traveling back here tomorrow. So I'm thinking of finding a cave so I can just hang out there for the night while we wait for morning. In theory, that's a little bit safer than just being out here during the night, but we'll see. Oh, looks like I found one, or at least part of one? Even though I'm not sure this leads into a full cave area, this is very pretty. Well, we know there's a lush cave around here because, well, this exists. Now, if we could just find the actual cave. Oh, I think I found it. And it's a lush cave with a mine shaft? Cool. So I spent some time snooping through the caves. Although there ended up being quite a few mobs, and I'm not gonna lie, they look much creepier than vanilla Minecraft mobs, so I was a little bit scared. Okay, wait, which type of stone is this? Oh, that's granite. Cool, it looks like bricks. I am definitely gonna be incorporating lots of this into our builds. Spending all that time searching through the caves brought me into day 5. We've got a good amount of spruce saplings and mossy cobble, so I think we can begin gathering up some of this dark oak. This looks really nice with Mizunos, so I'm excited to try building with it. So I spent the day chopping down dark oak and gathering up as many saplings as I could. The rain stopped and it's clear blue skies. Whoa, what is going on here? It's like a snowy peak with some lush cave. Okay, this looks kind of promising. I honestly don't really need anything from the lush caves right now, but I also can't not take a peek. This looks like it might be pretty cool. Whoa! Yep, this didn't disappoint. Now the question is, do I explore a little bit or do I play it safe and go home? Well, I'm walking further into the cave as I debate this, so I think we all know the answer. And I'm not gonna say I regretted going down here, but it certainly was a little bit dicey. I mean, there were tons and tons of creepers. This may be a little bit sketchy, but also look at how pretty this is. Whoa, this cave goes on forever. Okay, that is a little bit terrifying. I think if I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna need some better armor, especially because there seems to be a lot of these guys hanging around. As beautiful as that lush cave was, I decided to get out of there and start my journey back home. Hello? It looks like somebody may have taken my boat for a joyride while I was gone. What's that? You're actually valet parking and you were keeping it safe for me? Oh, okay, thanks. Looks like I've got a friend to travel home with me. Wait, sorry, buddy, I didn't catch your name. What is it again? Todd? All right, Todd, no worries. You can come hang out at my base. Are there snacks? I mean, like, not currently because I don't really have much, but I'll try and get some for you. So with a new friend by my side, I traveled back home. And of course, when I got home, my place was absolutely riddled with mobs because I hadn't placed a single torch before I left. I have an arrow in my stomach. Oh, nope. Surprisingly, it's actually in my neck. Oh, there's a baby zombie! Oh yeah, it's day 6, and what a peaceful morning it is. All right, it looks like pretty much all of the mobs have been taken care of. So we got a ton of goodies from our adventure. Got lots of wood and stones to build with, and some saplings so we can regrow these trees at home. Speaking of which, we should probably get a spot laid out for these to grow. This spot is nice and close to our base, but also far enough that the podzol won't get all over the spot we're building. There, it's all set up and ready to go for whenever we need it. The turtle's rowing the boat. Todd is rowing the boat. I'm just gonna let Todd be. All right, so now that we're back at home, we have a couple things that we need to do today. We need to build ourselves a starter home, but I think we need to also get some animal pens set up. Once again, my food supply is dwindling, and we simply cannot have that. So let's go ahead and set up a temporary little pen. Perfect. Now we just need a little bit of wheat, and then we simply bring the sheep over. There's one, and now we just do the same for you fellas. And how about we shear you all so I can get a carpet on this thing, so I can easily get in and out of here. There's a couple more sheep over here, and I'm gonna grab these as well because it'll just make our lives easier in the end. And of course, let's get you all fed. I really hate to do this because the sheep are so cute, but I also desperately need some food right now. So now that we've got a pen of sheep, we have a pretty stable food supply, and now we have easier access to wool. So that knocks off 2 really important things for us. So with the food source all figured out and out of the way, I think we can begin focusing on what we're gonna do for our starter home. Honestly, this terrain is pretty much perfect. The terraforming is gonna be light, and it's pretty much just a matter of where we wanna put this build. I think I like this pocket up here. It's close to the edge of the forest, so then we can start naturally expanding the base further to the right. But of course, the very first spot that I choose requires a little bit of terraforming. I wanna flatten this spot out just a little bit more so I have enough space to build on. So I spent the rest of the day flattening out the terrain. The morning of day 7 came around and I continued with terraforming. I think it would be wise to cover up whatever this is. Oh, interesting. Well, it's good to know that we've got this little cave next to us. We'll definitely have to explore it sometime, but I think it's probably safer to block off this entrance for now. Once I had closed off that cave entrance, I continued with terraforming. All right, I think that's probably a good amount of space to work with, at least for our starter home. There's definitely a little bit more that I'd like to terraform in the future, but we don't have to worry about that just yet. Rather do it when we have better tools. So now that we've got a good amount of space to work with, we can get our footprint down. Now the question is, what do I want to build with? We grabbed a bunch of that mossy cobble in the taiga the other day, and I think it would be cool to incorporate that. However, the cobblestones are a very noisy texture, so I think we need something to offset that. I'm wondering if stone bricks would be a good option. So let's pop that in the stone cutter, and let's see how this looks. Ooh, yeah, I think that's a good combination. The only problem is, I don't have that much cobblestone to burn. But thankfully, we have all these caves around us. So I got to work gathering up a bunch of cobblestone for the build. I wanted to make sure I had enough collected, so I spent the rest of the day in that cave. I also managed to grab some more granite and coal. And that brings us into day 8. Now I think this should be enough stone to get us started. Now that we've got all the materials we need, let's get this footprint in place. The textures in Mizunos lend really well to a cottagecore style, but they also give off a bit of a medieval vibe as well. I think that's what I'm going to try to achieve with this base. space. I tend to lean more cottagecore with my builds, so I think incorporating some medieval vibes would be a nice challenge for me. Alright, first floor is done, and I think all of this cobble and stone is looking really good. Now for the second floor, I think I'm gonna extend it out a little bit further, just to give ourselves a little bit of extra space. Now I've got two options here for what we could do for the beams. We've got the dark oak, and we've got the spruce. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with the dark oak. It actually matches the spruce planks better than the spruce does. That looks so good though. I'm so glad I ended up grabbing a bunch. So far, so good. Now we've got to fill in the walls, and I think our options are either oak or birch. The oak is really nice. However, the birch brings a nice bit of contrast to these beams. I think I'm gonna go with the birch. However, I did hear that there's a trick with Mizunos where if you double stack slabs, it creates a bit of a different texture. Whoa, that is so cool. Okay, as much as I love this one, it feels a little bit too like pristine compared to this birch, so I think I'm gonna stick with this one. That is very handy to know though. So I spent the rest of the day filling in the walls of the house. Day 9 came around and I continued working on the build. It is time to get the roof up. And I think I'm gonna go for a roof style that's a little bit more steep. I think I'm also gonna avoid using stairs on all the edges because I want the roof to look a little bit more angular. Yeah, I think that is perfect. Now, since we didn't use the oak for the walls, I was planning to use it for the roof. However, I don't think I have any oak left, so I think we better top up our supply. So I spent the morning in the forest gathering up oak. I think that should probably get us by for what we need, especially because we'll be turning it into planks. Also come to realize that I've once again run out of food. That is okay because we have a nice little spot with all of our crops that have grown. I just need to do a better job of remembering it's here. And now with all the wheat we gathered, we can feed these sheep. Alright, I think with all of those chores done, I can get back to building. So I worked away on filling in the roof. Once that was done, I finished it up by adding a trim to the top and patched up the walls with some more birch. Day 10, and even though we only have the structure in place so far, I think this is looking so good. And you know what? It's gonna look even better when we get all these decorations in place, which is the main task for today. Are you for real, dude? Really? I'm just chilling here. What are you doing? Stop it. Stop. I see you. Now I need to go chug some milk, and you know I hate doing that. I don't even like milk. You realize you're ruining the flow of my day, right? Now I have to go travel for milk of all things. And for that, I will never forgive you. Oh, and it looks like I've got another arrow right in the neck. That's not good. Well, I plan to spend the day peacefully decorating my house, but the pillagers seem to have other plans for me. I think today's the day where we finally bring some cows back over to this base. You know, in a way, the pillagers kind of did me a favor here, but I'm not ever gonna let them know that. All right, there's one cow. First things first, I need some milk. Gotta get rid of this bad omen. Whoa, there's a bunch of cows over here. This is perfect. Let's see how many we can bring back with us. Honestly, the more the better. So slowly but surely, making sure no cow was to be left behind, I walked back to my base. Uh-oh, this is a lot. Okay, I think we're all good. Yep, we're fine. That kind of felt like it took forever because, well, it did. But hey, at least we've got cows now. We will definitely thank ourselves later for grabbing them. That's for sure. So I don't have that much time left in the day, but I think I can still get a little bit done on the outside of this build. So I puttered away until the sunset. You know, to make up for some lost time today, I think I'm going to spend the night decorating the interior of the house. However, before the sun sets, I think I should lay down some torches to at least mitigate some of the mob issues we're having. Even if it kind of only sort of helps, it'll still make me feel better. Alright, we've got ourselves a little bit of light around here, and now I'll feel a little bit better building through the night. Alright, it is day 11 and I got some work done over the course of the night. Let's take a look, shall we? So this build is what I would call small but mighty. I actually managed to fit quite a bit of storage downstairs. And I even managed to label it for extra organization. Now we're definitely going to need much more space than this in the future, but this will definitely get us through the next little while. And as for the upstairs, well, it's not exactly done yet, except I do have a nice bed to sleep in, so that's something. So there's still quite a bit of work to do. I mean, I don't even have windows yet, so the upstairs is what I would call quite drafty. see. Now, speaking of windows, I should probably grab some sand for that. So let's gather up some by this little patch next to the river. We'll pop that in the furnace and then we'll let that cook. Now, in the meantime, I also need some leaves for this build. Is it really a cozy build if there's no leaves on it? Especially these fall ones. I mean, come on. It's not every day that we get to use fall leaves around here. So maybe what we could do with these is build out a couple planters along the house. So I puttered away, placing down various decorations around the build. Oh, I almost forgot. Our glass is probably ready. Okay, so it looks like you actually get some really cool textures with different types of dyes. However, I ended up accidentally getting one of the more basic designs with the dye that I had. If I could get my hands on some different dyes though, we've got quite a few options. There's not much daylight left, so I think I'm gonna decorate the roof so I'm up high and away from all the mobs. And just like that, we are on to day 12. This house has really come together. It is looking so cute. Pretty much the only detail I'm missing is actually the windows. And I think I'd like to get that sorted today. So let's grab ourselves some more sand and we'll pop that in the furnace. So one of the glass panes I was eyeing was actually made with light blue dye. And in order to make that, all we have to do is combine blue dye with white dye. And we just combine it with this glass and we've got ourselves a nice textured panel. Now let's pop these in and see how they look. Oh yeah, that looks so cool. I love that design. I really love how different dyes give you different textures. It just opens up the door to so many more possibilities with building. And finally, for the bottom floor windows, I think I'm just going to use spruce fencing. And I think with those extra details added, our starter home is complete. This looks so cute. I love all of the different little textures and details. All of these little differences in styles between each item add so much fun and variety when building. Like even the difference between the spruce and oak fences. It's so cool. You know what? The only thing we're missing is a little bit of a path. There, perfect. So with our starter house all done, we now have a safe place to live, which is good because I was getting pretty scared of the mobs at night. Now that leaves us with pretty much the rest of the day free. And I think the next thing we need to tackle is getting some better armor and tools. I'm currently still working with stone because I've just been kind of hesitant to use some of the iron that we've gotten. But it's starting to slow us down and I think we're due for an upgrade. Now, do I risk checking out this tiny little cave and maybe have it leading nowhere? Or do I just go to the big cave over there? You know what? I say we get ourselves a good pickaxe, as well as a shield, and let's go off and explore that cave. So with a teeny little bit of confidence, I made my way over to the big cave in hopes to get some good resources. And right off the bat, I was just so kindly greeted with a bunch of mobs. But hey, at least I came prepared with a shield. Whoa, 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 whoa. The skelly hit the creeper! Don't you get like a rare music disc from that? You do! That's awesome. So after that confrontation with all those mobs, I explored further into the caves where I found a spot that had a good amount of iron and coal. I pretty much spent the rest of the evening gathering up as much of those materials as I could. On the morning of day 13, I was still in the caves gathering up a few more things. I'm gonna grab just a little bit more dripstone because I'd like to get this lava farm set up soon. That way we can use our coal for more important things, like lanterns, of course. All right, I think I'm pretty much ready to get out of here. Huh, and would you look at that, just as I get home, the weather clears up. Lovely. All right, so I've got a bunch of goodies from the caves. So let's pop in some of this iron that we got to burn. And I think the next task that I'd like to do is get that lava farm set up. Now, the two things we're missing are lava and a build. I honestly think this is a good chance for us to build a mining outpost of some sorts. That way it can act as a spot for our lava farm, but also we could build a strip mine for easier access to resources. Feel like somewhere around here would be perfect. Now the question is, do I have enough materials to build this thing? And the answer is no. So I think today is a good old-fashioned resource collection day where we top up on all the materials we need for our builds. So I spent the rest of the day chopping down spruce and oak trees. Day 14 came around and I was ready to build up my mining outpost. Since we're basically digging down to make this strip mine, it can pretty much go anywhere. So I think I'd like to keep it close to my starter home. Yeah, I feel like that's the perfect spot. So with the footprint all figured out, I got to work on building up the structure. Similar to our starter home, I made the first floor using cobble and stone bricks. Then for the second floor, I used a combination of beams and planks. Building took the entirety of the day, so by the time nighttime came around, I was working on the roof. Since I felt pretty safe being up high and away from the mobs, I decided to stay up a little bit later to work through the night. Well, except one managed to find its way up the dirt staircase. After the roof was in place, I still had some time left in the night, so I began working on the interior. Day 15 rolled around and I was still working away on the mining outpost. Alright, so I dug down a little bit further to give myself some more clearance for the lava farm, because I do need quite a bit of room. So let's start with some cauldrons against this wall. Then we add the dripstone blocks with the dripstone underneath, and then finally we toss some lava up top. I know iron is a precious resource right now, but I think I'm gonna make one more bucket. Not only will it make it so I only need to make 2 trips to grab the lava, but we'll also be able to use it for fueling our furnaces. Now I'm pretty sure I saw a pool of lava up here over by this portal. Did I ever search his chest? Whoa, guess not. So we've got 1 golden pick with mending and the other with fortune. Gold isn't the most durable, but this could come in handy while gathering diamonds until we enchant something better. There were some goodies in here. All right, let's scoop up some of this lava. Ouch. So let's get some stained glass set up right here so we can see the lava, and then all we have to do is place it. Okay, so now the dripstone is dripping lava into the cauldron, and if we give it some time to fill up, we will have unlimited lava for fuel. To complete this though, we just need 2 more buckets of lava. But before I could get the rest of that, I needed to make a pit stop for food. I think we're at the point where we've bred enough cows so I can probably start using them for food. Once I had a little bit of food in me, I went back to the portal to grab the remaining lava that I needed. All right, let's get this last little bit in place. And we're all done. And we've already collected lava in these cauldrons. Awesome. All of that work on the lava farm brought me into day 16 where it was all complete. I added in a wall of furnaces next to the cauldrons just to make it as easy as possible. Now I only have 3 buckets to use at the moment because I don't really have any iron. So once we get a better supply of it, we'll definitely make more. Speaking of iron, I've been thinking, I think we're finally due for some proper iron armor. I've been running around the caves in nothing but a cozy fall sweater. And although I look stylish, I'm not being very practical. If anything, the mobs probably see me as an easy target. Well, easy target no more, cause I am geared up. Why does this armor look so cool? Got like some fancy pants on. Look at my shoulder pads. What is this, the 80s? Literally, I'm wearing like an 80s power suit right now and I'm here for it. With armor as cool as this, I feel like I can conquer anything. Except honestly, we should probably finish this mining outpost today because it's half done and there's dirt stairs everywhere. So yeah, I'm actually not gonna go anywhere. So with the newfound swagger I gained from my iron armor, I got to work finishing the build. Most of the day was spent adding decorations to the exterior as well as an entryway to the top floor. By the time evening came around, I was safe and sound working on the interior, so I decided to work through the night. Day 17 and oh my. Yep, there's a lot going on over there. You know what? The torches have been a pretty good deterrent though. I'm quite happy I did that. Okay, so the outside of the build is almost complete. I have a few more decorations I'd like to add here and there, but I worked on the interior overnight and managed to finish it. And check this out. I think it turned out really cozy. It's cute, it's warm, it's cozy, and also look at all of these adorable paintings that I found. Look at this chicken. He looks so contemplative. What is he looking at? What is he thinking about? We'll never know. So this place is pretty much all done. I just wanted an extra spot for some storage and a place to sleep at night if I needed to, and I think it turned out awesome. Now, the one thing I realized while I was building this is we're on to day 17 and I haven't placed a single lantern. How is that even possible? Now, I was only able to make 2, so I guess maybe I'll just toss one here and here. There we go. Our first 2 lanterns. A momentous occasion that we must remember forever. Alright, so with all the fun interior decorations out of the way, I think I'd actually like to start on the strip mine today. So I had the idea of connecting these 2 builds together with a wall, and then that wall would have a path that leads over to the mine. So it would probably be best to start things off by roughing out a shape for the wall, and then after that we can figure out placement for the mine. Alright, I feel like that looks good. Then what we could do is wind a path this way, which will then lead us to our mines. Yeah, I feel like this makes sense. So with that plan in place, I began digging down to make the strip mine. Digging down that far can take quite some time, especially with stone tools, so I worked all day and into the night. Day 18 came around and I was still digging my way down. Are those diamonds? Like, it kind of looks like it, but also not? I think I should put this on hold to get an iron pick. So let's craft one up really quick, and let's see what this actually is. Oh, we got diamonds. Let's go. Even more diamonds. and more. Amazing. So we got 4 in total. Well, hopefully that's a good sign of some good luck going forward. After digging down a little bit more, I finally reached the bottom, so I started setting up a spot for a strip mine. With everything ready to go, I began tunneling away in search of diamonds. And with a little bit of luck in searching, I managed to find some more. Well, it was just one, but I'll take it. The sun was going to rise soon, so I decided to head back up so we could get other stuff done around the base. So it is a beautiful morning on day 19. With all of the digging I did, I managed to grab a little bit of extra cobblestone, so we can definitely burn some of that up to make our stone bricks. While I'm waiting for that to burn, I'm going to use this time to decorate the exterior of this build some more. Alright, how we doing? Got quite a bit, so that's a good start. I think that should be enough to get us started on building this up a bit more. So the shape is looking really good, except I might get rid of this. Much better. To give this wall a little bit of extra shape, I'm just gonna add some pieces like walls and stairs. That will also help make it look a little bit more old and weathered as well. Last but not least, I'm gonna sprinkle in a couple leaves here and there. And I think that is perfect. So now we've got a nice little path leading over to our strip mine. However, this is looking sad. We simply cannot go on any longer with this. So I think we gotta spend some time turning this thing into a nice little build. So with a new idea for a build, I spent the rest of the evening terraforming the space around the mine, and when night fell, I went down into the mines to gather up resources. And that brought me into day 20, where I started things off by flattening out the area around the mine. Really? Again? Oh, you messed with the wrong drift. I've got my 80s power suit on, and I'm unstoppable. That's what I thought. And you know what? I've got a fresh supply of milk now. There was a little bit of leftover lava in that. That was really spicy. All right, back to terraforming after I was so rudely interrupted. So everything's been flattened, and I think this should be a good amount of space to work with. Honestly, all I really want to do is make sure that this is a covered entrance so I'm safe getting in and out of the mines. It doesn't have to be too big of a build because we already have space for all of our mining supplies next door. So with that idea in mind, I got to work on building up the structure. This brought me into the evening, and I didn't want mobs to spawn, so I went to bed for the night. It's a beautiful morning on day 21, and I'm gonna start things off by grabbing a bit more oak. I ended up running out of it while I was working on the build last night, so we need a little bit more before we can continue. Alright, I think this should get us by. Also, here's what I've built up so far, and I think it's looking good. All we need are some walls on the second floor, then we gotta fill in our roof, and just like that, we've got ourselves a structure. Pretty much all we have to do now is decorate this thing, and then I think it's good to go. So I spent the rest of the day adding in details like fall planters and some piles of barrels. Day 22, and this little build is pretty much done. Now I do have a couple things missing here and there. I would love to add some hanging lanterns to these posts, but I'm kind of out of iron at the moment. The other thing I was debating adding in this area for some extra height was a tower. So right now we've got these 3 builds, and I think they look really good, but I feel like some extra height behind these builds could go a really long way. So I say we go ahead and toss one up to see how it looks. Partway through, I ran out of cobble, so I decided to go back into the mines to collect some more. Once I had collected enough stone, I continued working on the base of the tower. Alright, I think that should be enough height, at least for the base. The top of the tower will add a little bit of extra height to it, so I think we should be good with this. Since I was up high off the ground and away from mobs, I decided to work through the night to get the build done. Day 23, and look at that, the structure is all done. Well, you can't really see it because the wall's kind of blocking it, so let's take a little walk through here, and ta-da! So I added in a bunch of details on the outside. I used the double slabs of oak planks here to get this little design, and I think that looks super cool. I also added in a window and some leaves on top of the tower, and on this side, I added in some windows and some planter boxes as well. Oops! Forgot that was there. Listen, dirt staircases are a necessity, especially for short people like me. What am I supposed to do? All right, let's take a look in free cam to see how all of this fits together. Yeah, this is looking super cool. I think adding in the tower was a good move because it just brought in a little bit of height to frame up these builds. And of course, now we have the entrance to our mine all hidden. So with that all done, that leaves us with pretty much a free day. Now we have endless amounts of projects we could do around this base. We gotta work on our farmland, we need some enchanting, crafting. We should probably get some storage sorted. But I was kind of thinking of doing something a little bit different today. Now, as you can see, my tools are looking pretty rough and most of them are still stone. And that's because I don't really have that much iron at my disposal. So I'm kind of thinking it might be a good idea to go over to the village today to grab some villagers so we can start an iron farm. I think we all know moving villagers can be a huge pain, but honestly, I think it'll be worth it to have them closer to us because then the iron farm will be working constantly. Oh, villagers, hello. How's it going? Okay, you are stuck in a compost bin. Oh, I think he's embarrassed because I called him out for hanging out in a garbage can. And you know what? It's rather unfortunate for him that I saw that because I'm bringing these with me to bring them home and I'm never gonna let that go. All right, garbage toes, come along. We don't have all day. They actually seem to be latching onto these compost bins pretty easily. Let's just hope for smooth sailing all the way back to the base. Right, garbage toes? Hello? No, don't go back that way. Come this way. Look, it's your favorite thing. Garbage. Don't you want it? Uh-oh, they don't. Okay, we're pivoting. I'm gonna put them into boats instead. Get in the boat. There we go. Okay, we got one. Garbage toes, you're coming with me. All right, my guess for what happened is that they were getting a little scared that nighttime was gonna fall soon, so they were trying to get back to their beds. Because, I mean, of course, zombies and villagers don't have the best relationship with one another. And speaking of those pesky zombies, I should probably go get a bed for myself and sleep as soon as I can because those villagers are currently out in the open and we don't want anything bad to happen to them. Don't worry, villagers. I'll sleep as fast as I can, I promise. Day 24, and look at that. Garbage toes and what's his face are all safe and sound. I also made a really bad floating tree, but we're just gonna ignore that. It was for emergency purposes, okay? So now that we've got our villagers in boats, let's just try carting them home. The terrain around here is actually pretty flat, so we might just be able to boat them back without having to break it. Well, would you look at that? The terrain was kind of a downhill slope, so I pretty much just skated back here. Easy peasy. Why is that bee angry? Oh, is he coming for me? What did I do? Oh wait, never mind. I think that's just his face. Oh, that was kind of scary. I don't know exactly where I'm gonna put these guys yet, so I think I'm just gonna leave him here for now, and I'm gonna go get the other one. All right, garbage toes, let's get you home. I'm a little bit hungry. Are you? You're saying you wish it was sitting in the garbage for 3 weeks and then you would eat it? You scare me. All right, both of the villagers are here safe and sound. So now that they're here, we need to figure out where we're gonna put them. Now, I did say I wanted to make an iron farm, and of course I still do. However, since we've only got 2 villagers here, we actually don't have enough for an iron farm. I think you typically need 3. So I think it might be worth it for us to build a home for them, toss them a bunch of bread, carrots, whatever, and then build a villager population over here. That way we won't have to keep carting them over from that village, and we could use them for other things like trades. Now, the question is, where are we gonna put this villager house? We're gonna want the villager house to be close to the iron farm, so I was kind of wondering if maybe the area around here would be good. We're probably gonna have to do a little bit of terraforming just to make sure this is all patched up properly, but I feel like this is a really easy and open space to work with. So with that in mind, how about we start things off by leveling off this terrain a bit more? Before I forget, I should probably keep these guys safe and sound as well. Truly, the last thing we need are some zombies getting them. I mean, it may not be the coziest, but hey, at least they're safe. After that, I spent the rest of the evening terraforming. Day 25 came around and I was still working away at making space for the build. All right, I think this is a good amount of space for us to work with. Before we decide placement, I should probably draw a path from this lava farm because I haven't even done that yet. So let's get this connected over here. And now we can kind of figure out how we're gonna lay out the path leading over to the villager house. So I say we keep it relatively close to this house here and maybe build it a little further back behind the lava farm. Now the question is, do I even have materials to build this? Not really. In order to get this started, we're gonna have to top up on many resources. So I started off my resource collection by heading down into the mines for some cobble. After I picked up a good amount, I popped some into the furnaces to burn into stone, and then I spent the evening over at the tree farm gathering up dark oak. Day 26, and we're pretty much set for cobble and dark oak. Now I just need to top up on some oak, birch, and spruce, and then I think we're pretty much ready to build. Honestly, this forest is super cute, and it's kind of giving me enchanting vibes. I feel like when it comes time to build whatever we're doing for our enchanting table, we should definitely use this forest. Oh, since we're here, let's collect some more of these leaves. We have to maintain a good supply of crunchy fall leaves, of course. Once I was done gathering up the birch and oak, I went over to the tree farm to grab spruce, which was the very last item on our list. All right, we've got a good amount of everything collected collected, so I think we can start tossing this build up. Essentially, we gotta make this thing big enough to fit like 6 or 7 beds with enough space for the villagers to also roam around. Alright, how's the placement looking for this build? Honestly, not bad. I might, however, extend the length of this build by a couple blocks just because I feel like we could do with a little bit more space. Yeah, I feel like that's much better. So with the footprint all laid out, I spent the rest of the evening building up the villager house. Day 27 came around and I was working on the second floor of the house. I think to switch things up a little bit, I'm going to use birch on the walls just like I did for my starter home. I want most of the builds to maintain a similar style, but I think having 2 types of pallets will help add variety. Alright, how is this looking? Good placement, good shape, I really like the birch on the walls, we're cooking. I think the villagers would appreciate a roof on this thing though. To make this house a little different from the build next to it, I think I'm going to go with a steeper roof. Yeah, I think that's looking good. I was worried it was going to look a little too similar to this lava farm, so I ended up giving it a little bit more height and shape, and I think it's perfect. Day 28, and I'm going to start things off by collecting just a little bit more oak. This roof ended up being a little bit bigger than I anticipated, so I think I'm going to need a bit more. And that's okay because I get to spend a nice crisp fall morning in the forest chopping down trees. Alright, I think this should be a good amount of oak for us to work with. Now let's get this roof up. It's the final component to the main structure, and after that we'll be able to decorate. All I need to do now is toss up this trim, and I think we're done. Oh wait, I always forget that when I add in the roof, that creates more wall. So I should probably get that filled in. Once evening came around, I was ready to work on the interior. So I took the opportunity to stay up late and get some of that done. Day 29, and I still have a little bit of work to do on the house, but hey, we're getting there. Look at how fancy these floors are though. These are just spruce slabs double stacked, but they make the nicest pattern. Only the best decorations for our sweet, sweet villagers, of course. So since we have most of the day ahead of us, I think I'm gonna take advantage of that to get some of the exterior decorations done. There's truly no sense in fighting for my life trying to make the outside look cute when we can just work on the interior at night. So I puttered away adding some planters and of course a cozy chimney to the house. The villager house is all done, and I think it's looking quite cute and cozy if I do say so myself. Okay, and when I mean it's like done, it's not done. I actually have to do the interior still, but that's okay. We have all night to complete that. Unfortunately, I can't do as many decorations as I would like in here because, well, villagers can't be trusted with job blocks. They just latch onto them and then they're like, oh, I'm a fisherman. That's all I do. I'm just gonna be a fisherman. It's just a whole mess. Especially if we need them for trades down the line, it just makes everything so much more complicated. So I say we play it safe and pretty much just set up like a whole bunch of beds and a couple of nightstands. Speaking of beds, I think I need some sleep. Good night, chicken. Day 30 and uh-oh. Yep, there's a lot going on here. I think I stayed up too late yapping. All right, creeper control. I'm not letting you ruin any of my builds. I refuse. There's 1. And 2. So I think it's about time that we start setting up the villager house. And of course that's gonna require a ton of wool because we need to make a lot of beds. Alright, how many should I make? I feel like 21 is way too much. Let's start with, I don't know, 8 beds. That seems pretty reasonable. That'll allow us enough villagers for our iron farm and for a couple extra in case we want to trade down the line. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, this is looking just like a little bit sad. So how about to make it just a little bit nicer, we put in like a little seating area over here, and we could just have like, I don't know, paintings. Hey, these paintings look like shelving. All right, we're getting somewhere. And we'll get a painting of a cat because, you know, villagers love cats and burgers. I mean, who doesn't love a burger? I feel like a creeper is a little too scary for the villagers. There we go, a donkey or something. That's a donkey, right? I think it is. Okay, I mean, the coziness level went up by like maybe 2 notches. That's better than what it was before, which was like -10. So with all of this stuff set up, I think we can probably begin moving our villagers in. Now, what is the best way to do this? Okay, hear me out. We're pretty close to this house, so how about I build a little bit of a tunnel system? That way they can safely walk over to the house and hopefully just go right on in. Oh wait, they're still in boats too. This is perfect. All right, I'm just gonna scoot you down this tunnel, and I'm hoping if I break this boat, they'll just go on inside. Oops, I forgot the trap door. There we go. Okay, he's in. Now what about you? You too? Why don't you go on in? No, you want to go this way. Your friend went over this way. What are you doing? Oh, this guy is ready to slumber. Look at that. This guy, however, I think he's trying to pathfind to some other bed. I don't know why he would though. Well, since you're not moving on your own, I have no choice but to do this. This guy's picky and requested the finest of transportation service. Now let's just seal this up. Put a little trap door on top so you can never ever escape. And there you go. Wait, why did he go to the bed this time? Villagers, I'm not even gonna question it. So with the villagers in all safe and sound, I think that means I can rest peacefully for the night as well. So after a peaceful sleep, we are on to day 31, and I think the villagers are loving their new space. Now I think I need to start things off by cleaning up this mess I made. Finally, that dirt hut is gone. Oh, before I forget, let's get a little path going to the door. I've got this old path drawn out here that I could get rid of, but I was kind of thinking that it would be cool if we extended our weathered wall over to this side too. Plus, then we'll be able to wind a path at the back of this house and make a connection over to this mining outpost as well. Just a thought for a fun little side project. Now, with our villagers all safe and sound in their house, I think we need to focus on getting more of them. And the way to do that is, of course, to feed them. And I think I'm gonna go with carrots. That way we can easily harvest them and then just toss them at the villagers. All right, I've got 37. Is that enough for them? I don't know. I might need to get more. Well, they took the carrots, so that's good. Now I think we're probably just gonna have to wait it out. To make my life a little bit easier, I think I'm gonna make a carrot farm on the side of their house. Not only will I be able to easily harvest the carrots, but it will add some nice decoration as well. All right, it is nighttime, and I think instead of sleeping, I'm gonna go explore some caves tonight. Working with stone tools is getting to be pretty brutal, so I think I'd like to find some iron to get me by until we get our farm set up. So off I went into the caves in search of iron. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Wait, is this a geode? I barely noticed it at first because I'm not used to this texture. Yay, it is! Maybe we can use some of this amethyst for our enchanting table down the line. Once I was done running around the geode, I continued exploring the caves for iron. What is this? No way! A skeleton spawner? Scary, but this is so good. No way! Ooh, we found 13. Awesome. This could come in handy for us. I'm guessing this is pretty much just under our base. We definitely need to mark this out and remember where it is because a skeleton spawner could help us out so much with XP. All right, I've got a good supply of iron and I've found some very useful stuff for us. I say we get out of these caves. Oh, and would you look at that? We are on to day 32. So first things first, let's get some of this iron burning. So with a full day ahead of us, I think I want to focus on a couple of simple tasks. First things first, let's get the rest of this carrot farm set up since I kind of abandoned it when night fell. All it needs is a little bit more fencing and some leaves to cover up the holes, and of course, carrots. We still have to wait for them to grow, but hey, at least the space is all set up. All right, that's all done and sorted, so I think the next task for the day is some basic resource collection. I want to get another build set up soon, but if we're gonna do that, I need some more wood. And luckily, I've got enough iron to make some better tools for this, which will make it so much easier. So with a fresh new set of iron tools, I got to work chopping down dark oak and spruce. Ooh, look at how cute our base looks at night. That is so cozy. Instead of going to sleep, I think I'm gonna spend the night in the cave searching for diamonds. I think we only currently have like 4 or 5 of them, so I could definitely use a few more because I really want some diamond tools. And unfortunately, after lots and lots of digging, I had no luck. Day 33, and what project are we gonna start today? We're still waiting on the iron farm because I need to feed the villagers in order to breed them. And of course, as you can see, we're running pretty low on carrots. Now, I kind of had an idea for today. What if we start prepping some of our tasks for our bigger projects? So I was kind of thinking I could set up a sugarcane farm and get our cows fed. However, if we have some time today, why don't we just make our way over to the village and, you know, possibly boat another villager or two to this base? Listen, I know I went through the trouble of making that villager house and everything, but I'm impatient. I would love to get this iron farm set up sooner rather than later, plus we can use all of the extra villagers for other things like trades. So once I completed the chores of feeding the cows and topping up the sugarcane farm, I went off to the village in search of a couple more villagers. Hello villagers, how are you all doing? Seem to be a lot of you wandering around. Does this mean that you'd like to go to my base? I think it does. Look at that cat. It's a little kitty. Oh, I want it. It's so cute. It's like a little tuxedo cat. Okay, new side quest. We are absolutely befriending this adorable cat. All right, kitty, I've got some fish for you. So where'd you go? Kitty, hello. I've got fish. Don't you want? There's a little salmon. Yes. Wait, what's your name? Sorry? Beatrice? Well, it's nice to meet you, Beatrice. Well, since I spent the rest of the day trying to befriend this cat, I think I should put the villager in a dirt hut and boat him back in the morning. I've totally got my priorities in order. Once I got back to my base, I went down to the mines for the night to search for diamonds. And luckily, I managed to find some. We got 6 out of that one. I think it was the luck of having Beatrice around. Well, I think this is a cause for celebration, so I'm gonna make myself my very first diamond tool. And of course, it is gonna be the diamond pick. So hopefully the quicker we mine, the quicker we'll be able to find more diamonds. Well, I hope. Searching for a few more diamonds didn't yield anymore, but that brought me into day 34. Before I get started on my task today, I think I'm gonna get Beatrice into our starter home so she's safe and sound. Beatrice? Hello? You good? Well, that was a struggle, but we got there in the end. All right, let's get our diamonds stashed away, and ooh, we've got 8. So I think we could probably make some more tools out of that. But we're gonna have to do that later because we have a very important mission right now. We've got to fetch these other villagers. Hello, villager. I am back. Were you scared I forgot you? Oh, you never have to worry about that. You are simply too valuable. After I had brought the villager back safe and sound to the base, I ran back to the village to grab another. Oh, and this guy is just awkwardly staring while we go by. So with 2 villagers acquired for our iron farm, we only need 1 more. And I think I might actually have enough carrots to feed our villagers. So if all goes well, we can just take one from the house. I've got nearly a stack of carrots to give them, so this should be enough. We'll check back on them in like a day or so. I also thankfully realized before it's too late that I should block off this door. Baby villagers are short enough to get through the trapdoor method, meaning they would just be able to waltz right on out of here. So from now on, I think I'm just gonna enter this place through the roof like Batman or something. Does Batman even do that? I don't know. Hey, I see you spiders. Get away from those villagers. You leave them alone. As much as I would have loved to sleep, I decided to head back down into the mines to try and find more diamonds. And sadly, I still had no luck. Day 35, and I think it's finally time. Let's get to work on this iron farm. Now, because we have a house full of villagers and beds at our base, that means if there's enough villagers, golems might start naturally spawning around here, which can kind of cause issues with the farm. So I think it might be a good idea to build this thing a little bit further away. This area is nice and flat too, which will make building the farm so much easier. Now, of course, in order to make this farm, we need a 3rd villager. Let's check to see if we've gotten any new ones. Whoa, there's 2 baby villagers. Amazing, so that means we can take good old not garbage toes over here and put them in a boat. Then we'll block off this area so they can't come upstairs. And let's just break down this wall so we can easily boat out of here. Why does it feel like we're performing a heist? This is literally so dramatic for no reason. So with a 3rd villager acquired, I got to work moving all of them over to the spot for our farm. The sun's starting to set and I plan on spending the night getting some supplies ready for the farm, so I think I've got to get another safety dirt hut around them. Day 36 and I was ready to begin working on the farm. Aside from some of the basic farms, I'm not too great at coming up with designs on my own. So I used a tutorial for this farm and I'll be sure to link it in the description. Ah! Where did you come from? Well, I hope having a 4th villager in here doesn't mess up the farm, because it doesn't look like he's interested in leaving. Alright, everything's set up. Now the question is, can I safely get a zombie in here without a creeper blowing us up? Alright, get on over here, bud. Don't see any creepers right now. Everything's going to plan. There's just a lot of zombies over here. Oh no. Oh, there's an iron golem. Yes! No! Get out of here! Uh-oh. I shouldn't have done that. He was just trying to help. I know he was. Okay, let's just seal this off really quickly, and he can't get to them. That was terrifying. Okay, I think I need to go to sleep so I can finish this farm in the daylight so a creeper doesn't blow me up. All right, it is day 37 and the iron farm is pretty much done. All I really have left to do is start pathing out some of the area around the farm so the golems actually spawn in the pit. Now the problem is I don't have a way of seeing if this actually works because we've got 2 iron golems over here who are kind of preventing other golems from spawning. Can I get this guy to just go in the pit? I know you saved my life, but sorry, gotta go in the pit. Oh my gosh, this guy's relentless. There we go. Oh wow, look. Our first little bit of iron. That's so nice. Now, as for this guy, he's just kind of wandering around. I don't really know what to do with him. Ah! Come over here, big guy. Where'd he go? Oh, I think he fell in. I'm sorry. Ooh, iron. Okay, here's the test. Is it gonna work now? It works! Yes! They're spawning in the pit. Big success. Amazing. So we've got ourselves a functioning iron farm. And you know what? This changes everything. I can finally make as many lanterns as I want. This is certainly a great day. A very good day indeed. Marvelous. Incredible. and life-changing. In all seriousness though, I'm so happy we got this iron farm done. It is just gonna make our lives so much easier now that we don't have to worry about this resource. So I'm gonna let that run, and I think I'm gonna start gathering up some other resources for our next build. Alright, so we are on to day 38, and now that the iron farm is done, we can move on to another project. Now the top 3 things that I want to work on are farmland, storage, and enchanting. And I'm kind of thinking we get the enchanting done so we can upgrade our gear. And of course, since we don't have our good enchanted tools yet, I am going to grab some iron from here and make some better tools so we can work a little bit more efficiently. So the first step to this enchanting table is, well, figuring out where we want to put it. Earlier I had mentioned that I thought it could look kind of cool in this forest. I feel like a fantasy cottage in the woods would look super cute. So with that idea in mind, I began clearing out some space for the build. Alright, I think this should be more than enough space for our build. We just need a house big enough to fit the enchanting table, and I think this will be more than enough space. Now the question is, what blocks are we going to use for this build? So we've got a pretty good supply of all of the wood types. However, I was kind of thinking, I'm pretty much all out of mossy cobblestone, and it could be nice to incorporate some moss into the roof as well. Since it's going to be all like foresty and enchanted, I want it to look really overgrown and old, and moss would definitely give that vibe. So I say we take a trip back over to that giant taiga and go collect some resources. By the time I had made it to the taiga, it was already pretty late. Since I had lost a lot of daylight while traveling, I decided to stay up through the night to gather everything up. What is this? Oh, this is coarse dirt. I see. I didn't recognize it at first. I thought it was just regular dirt. I'm gonna scoop some of this up, actually. Uh-oh. Oh, this is very sketchy. There's so many skeletons here. Oh, I got another one of these discs. That's the second time that's happened. That seemed to be an unusually large creeper explosion. Things were getting to be a little bit too sketchy in the forest. There were just waves and waves of mobs one after another, and I felt like I couldn't actually collect anything. So I decided to try my luck in the Lush cave to gather everything else up. I also spotted some axolotls, including the most adorable baby axolotl ever, so of course I had to scoop them up as well. Gathering up a bunch of stuff in the Lush caves brought me into day 39. My inventory is pretty full now, so I think I'm ready to go home. Once I had found my boat, I made the journey back to my base. Todd, how you doing? I actually managed to gather quite a bit of stuff from the caves, so I think I'm gonna be here for a while organizing. Once I was done organizing my inventory, I decided to spend the remainder of the day gathering up some extra wood for the build. And just like that, we are on to day 40, where I think we're ready to get this build up. Okay, the one thing I don't like about Mizunos is the skeletons look really creepy. Please go away and leave me alone. He's definitely gonna come after me. So with a watchful eye on the skeleton, I began laying down the footprint of the build. Ah, I knew it. You're out of here. Now hopefully that's the only one we come across, because I'd like to get my work done today. Alright, the shape's looking good, and I think this is enough space for an enchanting table. Now I think I can start placing some of these beams. So I've never actually made one of these before, but I think I'm gonna try one of those fantasy style roofs that slope down into the middle. I feel like in order for this to work, I just have to make a very high pointed roof at the edges, and then I work my way down from there. Yeah, I think this should be enough height. This is probably gonna look like a big mess, but I'm gonna outline the slope down to the middle with moss, just so I don't commit to something that's not actually gonna work. That wouldn't be good. Okay, I think that actually kind of works. I may have sloped it down a little bit too much in the middle, but that's easily fixable. Building up the Enchanting cottage brought me into day 41. Alrighty, so I'm pretty confident with the shape I laid out. Now all I have to do is replace it with spruce. Placing the trim down pretty much took most of the day. Since this was my first attempt at a roof like this, it took me a little bit longer to get everything in place, but hey, that's okay, because I think it's gonna look really cool. Okay, wow. That took me forever, but I think I finally figured it out. That looks pretty good. I should probably clean up this mess before any of it despawns though. So with the shape all laid out, I was able to begin easily laying out the rest of the roof. Unfortunately, my time on the build was cut a little bit short because a thunderstorm rolled in, and I did not want to risk any of the mobs destroying the build. Good morning, Beatrice. I hope you're having a wonderful day 42. Alright, so I'm going to start things off by trying to get the rest of this roof up. So I spent the morning filling in the roof with moss and spruce. Alright, the roof is all done and in place, so how does it look? For first attempt, that is not bad at all. I'm quite pleased with that. Now the question is, what do we fill these walls in with? You know what? Maybe it's time we give these double stacked birch slabs a shot. Ooh, yeah, these are nice. I feel like it fits the vibe of this cottage perfectly. Listen, I know I went a little bit off script with this palette, but I kind of figured this is the little cottage at the edge of the woods that's home to a witch or wizard. So I picture that to look a little bit more magical. Filling in the walls took me pretty much the entirety of the day. By nightfall, I had actually run out of birch, so I decided to go into the forest to collect some more. Oh no, not these guys again. Whoa, a wolf! Bro, you were ready to fight for me. That's so nice. Would you like a treat? You do. And now we're best friends. Oh, look at that fancy little sweater you got. Is that cashmere? I think I'm gonna name you Printer, because it's the thing that I'm looking at while I'm filming this. All right, Printer, you can keep me safe for the night. Hey! Don't hurt Printer! Dude, that was some serious stuff, but I think we make a good team. Once I had gathered up enough birch for the build, me and my new pal Printer traveled back home so we could get some sleep. And here we are on day 43. You know, I just can't get over your sweater. You look so fancy. All right, buddy, I think I'm gonna get you right here guarding our base. If you see any zombies or skeletons, you let me know right away. Also, I'm waiting for a package, so if you could sign for that, that would be great. Okay, bye! So with a full day ahead of me, I continued working on the build. I still had quite a bit of the walls to fill in, so I worked on that for most of the day. After all the walls were filled in, I still had quite a bit of time left in the day, so I started off the detailing by adding in some windows. Nighttime came around and I decided to stay up a little bit later to work on the interior. And that brings us into day 44, where I think I'm going to start things off by gathering up a bunch of spruce. I'm going to need quite a bit for the interior, so I figured I might as well stockpile today. I wanted to have enough for other builds down the line, so I chopped down 3 trees. And I think this should be more than enough. Now, since we're building something for enchanting, I almost forgot. I should probably be collecting the sugarcane and also feeding the cows. Now that those 2 chores are done, I think we can get back to our build. Since this was a big space, I pretty much spent the rest of the day filling in the ceiling as well as the floors. And that brings us into day 45. So the interior is pretty much all laid out, and I think this is more than enough space, which is great because then we'll be able to fit a couple cute decorations in here as well. So now that we have the space for the enchanting table, I think we should get that sorted today. Now, to make an enchanting table, there's a couple of things we're gonna need. We're gonna need 2 diamonds, some obsidian, and a book. And of course, to power it, we need all of those bookshelves. Now, I've got the 2 diamonds and I can easily make a book. The only thing I don't have is obsidian, but I know a place where we can find that. Luckily, we found this rune portal very early on because it has been very useful for us. Now, first things first, I'm gonna cover up some of this lava so the obsidian doesn't fall in. All right, now I feel a little bit better grabbing this. So I took it all because, well, why not? But I think the table only needs like 4 at most. Definitely better to be safe than sorry. That's what I always say. Since we're already here, let's harvest a little bit more of this sugarcane. And boy, oh boy, I certainly have a lot of cows in this pen. Let's gather up some of this leather as well. So now that I have all these materials ready, let's get this enchanting table set up. Yay, we got it. All right, now the question is, where do we put this thing? I feel like against one of these walls would look really cool. That way on the opposite wall, we could have some sort of decoration. Think I'm gonna go ahead and place it right about here. Whoa, this thing looks so cool. I love the design of it. Wait. I just realized we can't have it in this spot because we actually need space between the bookshelves and the enchanting table. So unfortunately, it would have to jut out a bit. Maybe we could do like a little corner setup over here. That way we still have lots of extra space to decorate on the other side of the house. All right, so with all of that done, I've got the rest of the day free. We do, of course, still have to make our bookshelves, but I think I'd also like to get the decorations on the exterior done. Unfortunately, crafting the decorations took a little bit longer than I had planned, so I only got a bit of the decorating done until nightfall. Day 46 came around and I continued decorating the exterior of the build. I think I want to keep the decorations on the exterior relatively simple, aside from some window decorations. Another thing I think would look kind of cool around here would be some broken down trees. I'm just gonna place some logs with some moss and fencing on them. That'll help make them look a little broken down and decayed. Then maybe on the side of the house, we can do a little stockpile of wood. And I think that's pretty much all we need for this. Oh, wait, we definitely need a chimney on this thing. It's a fantasy style cottage in the woods. How could we not? And there we go. I think that's perfect. I didn't want to overdo it too much with the details, especially because the shape is the main focus. Now, the only thing I think I'd like to add back are some trees. Like I mentioned before, this is a fantasy cottage that's nestled in the forest, and right now it feels just a little bit too visible. I think I want this build to be tucked away and almost hidden. We still have a couple more trees left to grow in, but I think that looks much better. So with all of that done, I think I can probably head to bed for the night. Day 47, and today is the day. I want to start getting all of the bookshelves set up for this enchanting house. So that means we got to start things off by collecting up some sugarcane and grabbing up a bit of extra leather. All right, with all of the leather that I previously collected, plus the sugarcane, I feel like we actually have a decent amount to get started on this table. That lined up perfectly. Wow. Okay, so we've ended up with 61 books. Now, I'm terrible at math, so I have no idea if that's actually going to equate to how much we need, but I feel like we're probably good. Wow, we got 20 bookshelves out of that. That's good, right? All right, let's pop these down over here. And with all of these placed down, let's see if we've got level 30 enchantments. All right, yes, we've reached level 30. Now, since I have 30 levels, I think I gotta give this thing a shot. Do I give myself a fresh new pick, or do I make a different tool? Kind of feel like I want to try my luck with a fresh new diamond pick. We don't have mending, and this one's already halfway gone. So if I'm gonna do an enchantment, I want to make sure it's on something new. All right, so we got unbreaking, fortune, and efficiency. Boy, am I happy that I did that. That is the best outcome that we could have gotten. Look at me, what is this? Is it my little fancy pants giving me luck? Is it Printer? Is it Beatrice? I don't know, but that was super lucky. You know what? I only need a bit more XP to enchant something else at level 30. I think I'm gonna spend these last 3 diamonds on an axe. Now I just need a way to get some levels. Cows. We're feeding cows. There we go. Easy peasy. Let's see if I have the same luck for this axe. Unbreaking and efficiency. For a diamond axe, that honestly is perfect for me. This thing is gonna make gathering resources so much easier. All right, I only have a little bit of the day left, so I think I'd like to spend the rest of it building up a cute little book nook in our enchanting house. So I spent the evening puttering away, building up a cozy little spot to hang out in. Day 48, and before we start anything else, let me show you all what I did for the interior of this enchanting house. Look at how cozy this turned out. So I basically turned this little spot into a reading nook with some storage, and I just tried to utilize as many paintings as I could because honestly, the Mizunos paintings, they're just so nice. A lot of them are kind of meant to look like shelving, which really helps with decorating. So with this space all done, I think we're ready to begin on a new project today. Now, the question is, what do we start on? Since we got the enchanting house done, our options now are either a storage hall or getting started on the farmland. And if I'm being honest, both really need to be done. Not to mention that this place could start using a little bit more fall detail. What are we doing living our best cozy fall life without pumpkins? Listen, I know my storage is a little bit of a mess, but honestly, it could be worse. So I'm kind of thinking, what if we focus on a little bit of base maintenance? That way we can get this place looking even more fall themed and even more cozy. So with the plan in place, I got to work on the fallification of the base by flattening out the terrain. It's not always the most thrilling job, but it makes a huge difference, so it's gotta be done. When nighttime came around, I decided to go into the mines to search for some diamonds. Gathering dirt with iron tools was pretty painful, so I figured that was the best tool to upgrade next. No way. I literally just started digging into this wall to make more strip mines. Are you for real? All right, let's use our fortune pick on this. And we only got 2. Wait, no, that's totally okay, because that's enough for a shovel. All right, diamonds sorted. Now we just need some levels and we're good to go. I decided to keep trying my luck for some more diamonds while gathering up redstone for XP, but I didn't have much luck. And that brings us into day 49. Now, I really want to get that shovel today, so I think the best bet for me to get my levels is probably just to breed the animals. Another option would be to go fight some mobs in the caves, but honestly, I'd rather do that as a last resort. If I can gain levels peacefully, I will. Maybe I should set up that skeleton XP farm soon. After breeding up all the animals and also having to get rid of some of them, I still didn't have enough levels. Beatrice, what do I do? You know what? That's it. I'm going into a cave, I'm gonna mine some resources, fight some mobs, and I'm gonna get these last bits of XP. So off I went into that big scary cave that I had found earlier. If we can just find a little bit of coal and a couple of mobs, we should be good. Jeez, where was all this iron when I needed it? There's so much in these caves. Let's be real, that's on me. I was too big of a baby to come down here. I just need the tiniest bit of XP. Come on, just a morsel. Oh no. Oh, that worked! It was the baby zombie that got me to level 30. Oh, that's great. Ooh, lapis. Once I had gotten to level 30, I got out of the cave and went home to the enchanting table. All right, let's craft up this diamond shovel. And let's hope we get something good. Efficiency 4? Okay. Unbreaking? Silk touch? What's with all these good enchantments? Seriously, I have had the best luck with this. Whoa, look at that horse in the distance. That is so majestic. Well, since I have this OP shovel, I can't not use it. I think I'm gonna spend a little time tonight gathering up some of this grass. And just like that, we are on to day 50. Seriously, how are we already halfway done? Honestly though, we have made some really good progress over the last 50 days. We've got a cute established little base, and we are not done yet. But if I want this place to look even nicer, I need to stop yapping and start placing grass. So with a full day ahead of me, I got to work on terraforming. Placing dirt pretty much took the entirety of day 50. I know. What a way to spend such a monumental day. But hey, it's gotta be done. But as a celebration for making it to the halfway mark, I watched the sunset overlooking the majestic horse. Day 51 and the terrain's all been flattened. And honestly, I'm so happy I spent the time doing this because it looks so much better. So I think we have a good amount of space to work with for our little crop fields. So my idea for this space is to add in a mix of fields that contain crops, flowers, and pumpkins. I want paths to weave through them so it's still easy to navigate and we can get around our base. And I think I also want the fields to be closed in with a mix of stone walls and fencing. So I think the best thing to do is start by outlining where these fields are gonna go. With that idea in mind, I began roughing out a shape for the fields. So I've got the first little patch here, and I think the placement's perfect. That also means I can wind a path around it to connect everything together. There we go. So this is the general idea for pretty much all of the little plots that I'm gonna make. I think if we sprinkle in a bunch of these with various crops and flowers, it will bring in so much needed detail and also tie the whole base together. Okay, I tried one that was all fencing just to see, and honestly, that ain't it. I feel like the fencing works a bit better when you're framing up smaller fields. So I think I'm gonna use them similar to how I framed up the carrot patch next to the villager house. After I had cleaned up the fencing, I spent the rest of the day outlining one more plot. Day 52 came around and I started the morning off by detailing the walls around the fields. So just like our wall over here, I'm gonna add some stairs, walls, and leaves to make it a bit more fragmented and broken down. Alright, I think these little crop fields are detailed out nicely, which means we can start filling them in. Now, I don't think I want to use the regular grass in these crop fields. I find that coarse dirt and tilled land look really nice with pumpkins and flowers. The only problem is I have a silk touch shovel which picks up grass instead of dirt, if you grab it from the first layer, that is. Now, to make our own coarse dirt, all we need to do is combine gravel and dirt. And I did see a couple patches of gravel over here when I was passing through the other day. Yes, here's the patch. Perfect. Before I scoop that up, I'm gonna dig down a couple blocks so I can gather up a ton of dirt. I might as well do it over here so I don't make a giant pit near my base and then accidentally fall in it and then I'm stuck there forever. And the rest of the 100 days just turns into me sobbing in a pit. I don't think any of us would want that. And I think I'm gonna lay a couple torches down while we're at it, just in case I decide to come back here. Last but not least, let's scoop up some of the gravel that we need. So we're back home and we've got all the materials we need to make this coarse dirt. Then we simply combine this all together, and just like that, we've got ourselves some coarse dirt. Working on our fields brought me into day 53. So we've got our first patch all laid out and ready to go, and I think I'd like to get some pumpkins in this one. And lucky for me, we have some pretty close by. I'm just gonna take all of these. Now the question is, do I want some of these actually growing out of the ground? Honestly, they do look pretty neat when they have stems attached to them. So how about we sprinkle a couple planted ones in as well? So we'll break one of these pumpkins down for some seeds, till out just a couple spots, and then plant a couple of these guys. Then amongst these ones growing, we can place the other pumpkins. And last but not least, to cover up these water holes, I think I'm going to use some spruce leaves. Not only do they hide the mess of the water, but they also provide a nice bit of contrast with the pumpkins. And there we go. There's our little pumpkin patch. This looks so cute. Honestly, ever since I did my 100 days island transformation, I have been obsessed with making pumpkin patches like this. Plus, bonus points, that is very fall themed indeed. So with a little bit of time left in the day, I think I'm just going to putter away on the paths around the fields by adding in some fencing, leaves, and coarse dirt. Day 54 came around and I started the morning off by working on the paths. Alright, I chipped away at this a little bit more and I think it's looking good. Now the question for today is, what do we put in this little plot? You know what I realized? I don't think I have any type of big flower. And that's kind of a problem because I would ideally like to make a big flower patch. Do I, go on a little bit of an adventure today? See if we can find any, perhaps? Honestly, we're surrounded by plains and forests, so there's gotta be something close by. So off I went in search of some pretty flowers I could use around my base. Ooh, lily of the valley, okay. Don't mind if I do. All right, we got peonies. First tall flower, let's go. Although, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure the pink would jive well with the fall theme. But that's okay because I found roses. Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. It's kind of funny, all of this stuff was actually relatively close to my base. I just never bothered to explore this way. Now, do we explore a little bit further to see if we can find sunflowers? They would look so good around the base, but also I don't know if I want to risk going that far. Ooh, lilacs. Again, doesn't really fit with the fall theme, but hey, they are my favorite flower in Minecraft, so I'm taking them. All right, this area kind of just seems to be forest for days, so I don't think I'm going to test my luck any further. So after success in finding flowers we could use, I traveled back to the base. Oh, there's an iron golem hanging outside of the farm. I'm gonna pretend I don't see that because I don't want to deal with it right now. We still have a little bit of time left in the day, so let's get this flower patch started. And just as I was about to fill in the field, I realized I was out of coarse dirt. So I had to spend the rest of the day replenishing my supply. And we are on to a fresh new morning of day 55. And I see a creeper right here, so I'm gonna try to get rid of him. Better luck next time. So let's fill this plot in with some coarse dirt. And now I say we place some flowers. So I think going with a mix of roses and lily of the valley for this patch would look really nice. They complement each other well, the contrast is there. Honestly, what's not to love? All right, how's this looking? Yeah, I think these look really nice. These patches have added some much needed detail to this base. So I think for the rest of the day, I'd like to work on adding a bit more detailing around the pathing, and then we should be good. So I spent the rest of the day peacefully adding in some coarse dirt around the edge of the paths, some more fencing, and also some additional lighting. I was having such a restful evening vibing until I made a big mistake. Ah! What are you doing? You came rushing right in, too. Uh-oh. Oh, no. I should not have done that. I should not have done that. I forgot I had so many villagers here. Why did I do that? Oh, I'm done for. Well, I guess on this cozy 100 days, I am now doing a raid. You know what? All these iron golems that I've built up have kind of come in clutch. Oh no, they're coming in from this way. All right, let's go to the iron golems. Help, please keep me protected, I beg you. I'm sorry, I'll decommission the iron farm. I promise I will. I'll never burn any of you to a crisp ever again. Save me. This is hilarious. Hey, stay away from my crops. Don't trample them. This guy is stuck in all of my cozy decorations. This is hilarious. He wrecked my leaves. Uh-oh. Stop it! You're wrecking everything. Got him. Oh. Is that it? Did I just complete a raid? Let's be real. The iron golems completed the raid. I cowered in fear like a baby for most of it. I think I'd just like to go to bed now. Day 56, and wow, what an eventful night I had. Now that that's all behind me though, I think I can finally finish up this pathing. Alright, I think we're all done. So all the paths are now connected and decorated, and most importantly, I added in some lighting. And now that these are in, I can get rid of these torches. So I think we're probably good with these two little plots right now, at least until we expand the base a little bit more. Now speaking of expansion, I think it's time we get started on a new build today. Now the next two projects I had in mind were of course farmland and storage. And honestly, after working on the last few projects, I think we have to tackle the storage. Things are starting to look a little bit messy around here, and it's kind of hard to keep track of the materials we have, making it difficult to build. Now, the question is, where do we put this build? I kind of always envisioned the storage to go around this area. Now, if we're gonna work in this area, I think we might have to do a little bit of terraforming. It's looking just a little bit rough around here, so I think we should probably patch it up a bit. So I spent the day working away, placing grass blocks, and in the evening, I went over to the tree farm to collect some more wood for the build. Day 57, and I think I've got all the materials I need to get this build started. Now let's get this in place because, yeah, my storage ain't looking so great. Alrighty, where are we gonna place this thing? I'm kind of thinking we maybe place the build right around here. That way we have a nice path that draws from here, and then we'll still have space in front of it for like a field, other builds, whatever we want. Oh, and it looks like we're gonna be working in the rain today. All right, the day's not getting any longer, so let's get this build in place. So looking at the build in FreeCam, I think I may have placed it a little bit too far out. I think if I try bringing it 2 blocks closer, that should solve the issue. Yeah, I think that looks perfect. So I worked away for the day building up the structure of the storage house. And just like all the other builds, I'm keeping with a similar palette. Since this build's a little bit more industrial feeling, I think I'm going to use oak for the walls as well. That's kind of the theme I've been doing to differentiate from the builds, and I like it. Working on the storage room brought me into day 58. I tackled the walls yesterday, so today that means I can work on getting the roof up. Working on the roof took majority of the day because I had tried a roof style that I ended up not really vibing with. Okay, don't get me wrong, I really do like this roof style. However, our next project is going to be a barn, which is probably going to be a similar type of roof to this. And if I'm going to be placing it close by, I don't think I want 2 roofs that look very much the same next to each other. After tearing it down, I decided to go with a classic style that just slopes up with planks. You honestly can't go wrong with it. Once the frame was in place, I filled the roof in alternating between oak and spruce. Alright, so the shape is all done, and right now it's kind of looking like a sad little box. But hey, once we work our magic on detailing this thing, it is gonna look so good. So I think I'm gonna use the rest of the day to get in as many details as I can on the outside until night falls. Once nighttime came around, I decided to stay up to work on the interior. Day 59, and check out the progress on this storage house. I managed to get a bunch of chests and barrels in place, and pretty much all I have left to do for the interior is build out a little workstation and add some decorations. But of course, since daylight is so precious, I think I'm gonna work on the exterior for a bit before I go back to that. So I worked away adding in some details around the windows and bringing in some more shape around the roof line. Perfect. Now this is a bit of a random idea, but I feel like a tower in the middle of the build could look kind of cool. I like this build, but I feel like it could use a little bit more shape. Plus this area of the base could do with some extra height as well. So I put together as much of the tower as I could before nightfall, and in the evening I put up some more decorations in the storage room. And wow, am I reading that right? We're on to day 60? Time is flying. But the good news is I've got most of this storage house done. So I was working away through the night and I managed to get quite a few of our essentials not only labeled, but also organized. So I would say we're off to a really good start with this expanded storage. Now I think I'd like to keep with a similar agenda for today as we did yesterday. Work on the outside of the build during the day, and cower in fear away from the mobs at night. But first I've got to top up some materials. Once I had all the materials I needed, I worked away on the finishing details of the tower. Just gotta pop in some stairs and walls to make this thing a little bit more pointy. We'll toss in some leaves around the tower to make it look more overgrown. We'll give this thing some shutters. And I think this thing is all done and decorated. I'm super happy with how this build turned out. I'm also really glad I ended up putting in that tower because just like I suspected, it adds a nice little bit of height to this area. Look at this little town. This is coming together so nicely. Now we have some free time left in the day. And as I was building, I was kind of thinking, we have a lot of free space around this build. Now we've got these cute little plots right here, which I keep calling them fields, but honestly they're not really. They're kind of more like gardens. So I was kind of thinking, what if we put in a proper field around this storage house? Wheat fields feel very fall themed, plus it would fill in this space really nicely. So I worked on tilling a bunch of the land until night fell. Once night fell, I stayed up a bit later to organize my storage. It's a beautiful morning on day 61. And what better way to spend it than some early morning farming? So with a big old project on my hands, I continued working on the farmland. Okay, so I feel like this is a good patch to start with, at least for now. Ideally, I'd love to build a retaining wall that wraps all the way around here just to enclose it in, but if we ever want to expand on it some more, we can easily add other layers. So now that this land is all tilled, pretty much all I gotta do now is fill it in with a bunch of seeds. And luckily, I kept a bunch in here, as well as over here. So now all I have to do is plant. And plant some more, and some more. And we're not done yet, we're still planting. Wow, I actually planted that a lot quicker than I thought I would. While we're waiting for all these plants to grow, this gives us the perfect opportunity to add some decorations to cover up the water holes. So I'm just gonna add some things you would find in a big field like some rock piles, hay bales, and storage. Day 62 came around and I was still working on the field. So I've got pretty much all of the decorations in place. The one last decoration I was hoping to do though would be a little scarecrow. It's autumn and I don't even have a scarecrow in our field? That just feels wrong. All right, let's shear this pumpkin's face. And oh, look at him. He looks so happy. What a guy. That is adorable. He's just happy to be here. All right, so now that we've got our festive little pumpkin dude in the field, let's get this retaining wall in place. So the shape is pretty much already in place. All I have to do is follow the edge and fill it in with stone. While I was building out the retaining wall, I had started to run low on materials. So I had to pop into the forest for some more yellow leaves and into the caves for some cobble. I wanted to make sure I had a good supply of everything, so collecting things pretty much took up the rest of the day. Day 63, and I was still working on detailing the retaining wall around the field. Similar to the wall we built by the mining outpost, I added in some leaves, stairs, slabs, and walls to make it look weathered and broken down. Last but not least, I'm gonna add some oak fencing to the wall as well. I feel like these little bits make it look like the wall has been quickly patched up over time. So with that all done and the field mostly grown in, this is looking fantastic. Yeah, that definitely added in a much needed pop of color. Before we're fully done here, I'm just gonna add the retaining wall to the back as well. I kind of realized when I was in free cam that it just tapered off towards the back there and didn't feel complete. Yeah, that's fully enclosed now and I think that looks a lot better. And last but not least, one more thing. I think I want one more pumpkin guy in this field. Oh, they're so cute. I love them. All right, I think this field is officially done. And wow, this base feels so much different now. Ever since we put these little gardens and fields in, the fall meter has gone up to like past 100. It's cozy, it's crispy, it's fall. So with a tiny little bit of time left in the day, I think I want to start prepping towards our next build, which I think is going to be the farmland. Now, I'm not sure exactly where I want to put it yet. I'm going to have to think about it. However, I did see the opportunity for a new expansion on the pathway over here, so I'm just going to wind it down and kind of see where we can go with this. When I had finished drawing out paths, the sun was beginning to set, so I moved on to organizing my storage. Day 64, and I think it's finally time we get a barn figured out for our animals. They've been living in these pens for far too long, and I'm feeling bad. We've got to give them a nice space to live in. So while I was pathing this out, I kind of had a thought for where the barn could go. I actually feel like putting the barn over here would look a little bit better. Having it on this side of the base would also give us an excuse to plant some wheat fields over there as well. And I think framing up the fields like that would balance out the base nicely. Now, if we want to build a barn, we're going to need a good amount of space for this. And as of right now, the terrain's just a little bit too hilly. So I think what we should do is shave off some of this layer and then we'll have a wider patch of land to work with. So that's all cleared out and I think it's looking good. However, I think we could probably do with a little bit more space. So I'm gonna go ahead and start terraforming the land below this patch to even it out. There's quite a bit of space to widen and I also had to make some trips to get more grass, so terraforming ended up taking the entirety of the day. And that brought me into day 65 where I was still making more space for the barn. Alright, so with this whole area terraformed, I think this should be a good amount of space for us to work with. So with the spot all picked out, let's of course start things off by getting this footprint in place. Alrighty, so here's the shape that I have so far, and it is resting pretty close to the edge right here. However, if I spend some time terraforming this spot, then I don't think that'll be an issue. The sun was starting to set, so I decided to spend some time collecting more grass and fixing the terrain up a bit more. Day 66, and guess what? I'm changing my mind. While I was filling this spot out for the barn, everything just felt a little bit too tight around here. And I could always expand the terrain out a little bit more out here, but I also don't want to wreck the river. Plus, this area does kind of feel a little bit more farm-like. So I think the better option would be to fix this spot up and build the barn over here. I did spend 2 days terraforming that area, but hey, that means we just have it ready to use for something else. So with the change in plans, I got straight to work fixing up the area around the animal pens. So I placed some grass here, placed some grass there, placed even more grass around in some other places. The day was just filled with placing lots and lots of grass. Alright, I leveled off a good chunk of this farmland, and yeah, I think this is so much of a better spot. The only problem is I have to move these guys because they are exactly where I want to place this build. Unless maybe I build around them? Does that make sense? I mean, if I finish off flattening the space around them, I could give it a shot. Realizing it would probably be a good idea to give myself some more space, I decided to flatten the area a little bit more. Alright, yeah, this is the perfect amount of space. I feel so much better knowing this is all done so we can just easily build on it tomorrow. With that all done though, I think I could use a good night's rest. And that brings us into day 67. So this spot is all flattened out and ready for us to build on. Oh no, what do I do here? I'm not making the same mistake as last time. I am just going to pretend that they are not there, they do not exist, and hopefully they just leave me alone. Ah, well, that didn't work. Hey, don't go in the cow pen. Whoa, he like crowd surfed over top of them. Wait a second, I just had the best idea. Use lava to get rid of them. Because then it's not me who did it, it's the lava. It worked! Ow, ow, oh no, I'm on fire now too! So as long as we've got a lava bucket on us, we can easily clear out these pillagers without having to trigger a raid. It's genius, I say. All right, with all that excitement behind us now, let's get this barn put up. Alright, so I think this is probably the perfect spot for the barn. Yeah, I think the placement of this is perfect. And immediately you can notice the difference versus the last spot we had it in. It feels so much less cramped now. Now, thankfully, I don't think I need to move these cows just yet, so I can spend some time getting the structure ready so I can safely move them in afterwards. Once the beams were all in place, I still had lots of time left in the day, so I tossed up some oak walls. Day 68, and I started the morning off by working on the roof of the barn. And of course, since this is a barn, we've got to give it that classic roof shape where it's steep at the bottom and then gently slopes up. Alrighty, the shape's all in place, so I think I can begin filling this in. Partway through building, I began to run low on oak and spruce, so I made the trip over to the forest to collect some more. I wanted to make sure I had a good supply so I didn't have to keep running back and forth. So I spent the rest of the day collecting resources. And that brings us into day 69, where we have lots of work to do on this roof, so we better get started. I spent the morning filling in the roof by alternating between spruce and oak. It's a really simple design, but I think it just breaks up the roof nicely. Alrighty, the roof is all filled in, and I love the shape of this barn. I think it looks super cool. Now, I need to fill in this patch over here, but to break things up a bit, I think I might choose a different block type. I was wondering how granite would look, however, I need to go fetch some because I don't have any left. So let's just scoop up a little bit here, and let's turn this into the polished slabs. Because when you stack these, it is just chef's kiss. And let's see how this looks. Yeah, I think that's perfect. The bricks that you get when you stack the polished granite slabs look so good. And also they complement this palette really nicely. I only had a little bit of time left in the day, so I spent the rest of it filling the walls in. Alrighty, day 70, and the progress on the barn is looking really good. So I think what I'd like to focus on today is getting some key details onto the build. That way, if we have things like fencing put in place, then we can easily put our animals into the barn without having to worry about them escaping. Alright, I think it's finally time we move these guys in. Now, I feel like the best way to do this is to block off the areas where I don't want them to go, and then maybe I can build like a fence or something here to corral them in. So then if I break this fencing, they should all move up into this area. Hopefully. Come on, what's the matter with you? Don't you want freedom? Well, like not total freedom, but at least a nicer place to live? All right, I think I'm gonna have to lure them with wheat. There we go. So the cows are all safely in the barn, and finally I can close up this pit. See, fellas, isn't that so much better? So the cows are all taken care of, and this is looking awesome. The sheep, however, are not. I'm not quite sure what I want to build for them yet, but I don't think I'm gonna place this in the barn. Otherwise, it's just gonna be too chaotic. We'll worry about that later, though. So I think for the remainder of the day, I'm gonna work on detailing the rest of this barn. I basically just wanna fill it with details and decorations that give it a little bit more life and story. Day 71, and I was still working away on the barn interior. So in our little rafter area, we can toss down some storage. Then underneath, we can store some bales of hay. Then in this corner, we can do a little workstation. And then on this side, we'll just add in some extra storage piles and stuff. So I think I'd like to stick with having some torches on the walls to keep it rustic. I'm gonna do the trick where you place a torch, then a frame underneath it, then finally on top, you could put a little piece of stone like this, and if you rotate it, it kind of looks like it's mounted to the wall. Yeah, I feel like that's a nice touch for a barn to keep it rustic. I definitely want to add some lanterns as well, but I need to check on this iron farm. We've had golems kind of just all over the place, so I don't even know if it's doing anything anymore. You know what? Not bad at all. Considering these dudes are literally everywhere, I had honestly just assumed that this farm stopped working entirely. There's even one on the roof. What is happening? Day 72, and I think I've made some pretty good progress on this barn. I would say the decorations on the interior are pretty much done, minus a couple of lanterns that need to be placed. There. Now all we really have left to do is figure out what we're gonna do for the floor. First things first, I think we gotta connect these paths up. And as for the interior of the barn, I definitely want it to look a little bit more rugged. You know what? Dripstone block actually looks pretty nice. Maybe we could try mixing that in with some coarse dirt and some pathing. You know what? I think that's actually pretty cute. I like it. It looks like a really old stone floor mixed in with all of the dirt that you would have from the barn. And I kind of forgot to fill in this grass patch, but I don't know, there's something about having it in here that I actually kind of like. So the interior of the barn is all done, and I think it looks great. We've got our little decorations in here. The cows have a spot to hang out. So I would say that's a job well done. Now the very last thing I have to do on this barn is decorate the exterior just a little bit more, and then I think we should be done with it. So I spent the rest of the day adding some extra details around the barn. Day 73, and I think our barn is all done. This is looking so cozy. I am so happy with how it turned out. The only thing I have left to do is decorate some of the pathing, but I think I might do that on another day. Now the question is, what do we do with these little sheepies? I was originally going to put them into the barn with the cows, but I just don't think that's a good idea. Maybe what we could do right here is build a little house that would accompany the sheep pen. Listen, we can't build an indoor space for the cows, but not do the same for the sheep. Just wouldn't be fair. Before we get started, I just need to fix this space up a tiny bit. Once I fixed up the terrain, I started framing up a build around the pen. Just like the cows, I figured I could do something similar with the sheep, where I could make the structure, then corral them in the space. But there may have been a minor incident. No! Wait, no, what do you... Stop it! No, 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 no! Alright, a couple got loose, but hey, they earned it. They can be free. And, of course, in the middle of building, I realized I had the dimensions wrong, so I had to tear some of it down to fix it. After I made some adjustments to the build, I spent the rest of the day tossing up the roof. And that brought me into day 74, where I was still working on the little sheep farm. So I think to switch things up a bit, I'm gonna go with birch wood for the walls. Plus, look, it matches the sheep. All right, this is about as much as I can do until I get the fencing in place. So let's go ahead and get this fence put up. And now I think we can break all of this and let the sheep go free. In this pen, of course. All right, perfect. The sheep are now successfully in the pen, so now I can break all of this stuff and fill it back in. Once the sheep were all safe and sound, I worked on filling in the roof and decorating the build before night fell. Day 75, and there we go. Our sheep farm is all done. And I think that's a cozy little spot for the sheep. Oh, got a mess out here this morning. Just gonna let them battle it out. There we go. Are you gonna burn to a crisp? Oh my gosh, you're fast. What a rude interruption. So since the sheep farm is all done, let's get a path drawn to it. There we go, perfect. So this one is definitely a lot more simple than the barn. Pretty much it houses sheep and that's all it does. But I just wanted to make sure they had an indoor and an outdoor space. And they seem like they're enjoying it. So with a full day free, we have a lot of projects that we can work on. We have lots of decorating to do around our paths. We can place some fields around our farmland. And we of course still have this entire space to fill up over here. I kind of want a redemption on this spot today, if I'm honest. And one idea I had for this spot is kind of a random one, but I was thinking we could build a horse stable. Listen, we got that saddle from the raid the other day, and this field over here has tons and tons of horses, including Majestic Horse, who I think I kind of just want to leave him there. Wait, no, he looks really cool though. Yo, look at this guy. He's so cool. All right, buddy, what do you say we build you a horse stable? Nope, it's got air conditioning, free snacks. What about a pair of reading socks? Oh, he liked that idea. All right, let's get a saddle on ya, and let's get you over to the base. Wait. Because he's Majestic Horse, does that mean I'm now Majestic Drift? I think I'm getting a bit too ahead of myself. All right, well, since we don't actually have a stable for him just yet, I think I'm gonna put him in the barn for now. You hang tight, buddy. So now that we have a new friend at our base patiently waiting, we've got to build this stable. And I'm kind of thinking we make it like a castle-style stable. So basically that means instead of adding all of the beams and all of the planks, this thing's gonna be made pretty much entirely of stone. So I worked away for the rest of the day building up the stable. And that brings us into day 76. So the structure's all laid out, and now all I have to do is fill in the roof with some spruce and add some detail to this thing. I'm gonna add some walls to the top of the roof so it looks a little bit less boxy and has a bit more shape. Looking good, looking good. Now I just think we need to pop out some spots for windows. And of course an entrance wouldn't hurt. Now what am I gonna decorate the windows with? You know what? I don't think I've tried iron bars yet. Ooh, these look really nice. Let's pop them in here. And yeah, I think that is the perfect vibe for this build. These iron bars are so nice. I love them. All right, since we still have to build out the actual stable for the horse to go in, I don't think we need too many more decorations on this thing. I think I'm gonna keep things simple and just pop down some leaves and details around the windows. Yeah, I think this build is off to a really good start. Day 77 and we've got ourselves a really cute build, but no spot to put Magic Horse. Why did I shorten his name to that? You know what? It kind of sounds better anyway. All right, I think we better build a nice outdoor spot for him to enjoy. And of course, we gotta make sure it's nice and shaded. All right, I think this should be a good amount of space for Magic Horse. Although I'm kind of wondering, is the clearance too short on the front here? Might bring it up by 1 block just to be safe. Problem is, this part's looking super flat now. So I think I might try to add just a little bit of extra shape here. After I finished off the outdoor part of the stable, I decided to expand it by breaking the wall so the horse could be inside as well. I then spent the rest of the day decorating the interior. Day 78, and I think our stable for Magic Horse is all done. I really love how the decorations turned out, especially these iron bars. These look perfect for medieval windows. I also made sure Magic Horse had a safe and enclosed space to live in. So it's all shaded in the outdoor spot, and he's got some room on the inside to chill in as well, equipped with some water stations to stay hydrated. The very last thing I need to do, of course, is connect it to all our other paths. All right, let's go get our buddy. Hello, Magic Horse. How are you? Are you enjoying this barn? I know it can be a little bit noisy at times, but that's why I got you your very own spot on the other side of the base. Check this out. Come on, go in. Magic Horse, what are you doing? Magic Horse. Oh, there we go. That was a struggle. All right, Magic Horse, what do you think? Do you like it? You do? That's so nice. Oh, before I forget, I feel like it would make sense to have a path going over to here as well. Well, with Magic Horse all safe and secure in here, I think that's a job well done. Let's take a little free cam to see how this base is looking. We have made so much progress, it is unreal. Now you can kind of see an obvious line of where the old base is compared to the new expansion. And that's because this area literally has no decorations. So I think it might be worth spending the next couple days sprucing this farmland up a little bit. And I think the best place to start is fixing up the paths a little bit. So I spent the rest of the day adding all of the decorations to the path. Day 79, and the paths are coming along really nicely, except one problem. I've run out of coarse dirt. Honestly, I could go into the caves to easily collect some gravel and some dirt. However, I think I'd like to go off and explore a little bit. As much as I love spending time in that cozy base, I need to get out of there every once in a while and stretch my legs. You've got to be kidding me. Those sunflowers were here the entire time? Literally right behind this village. I went searching for like 2 days in hopes that I would find some. Honestly, that is so classic me though. Ooh, there's gravel here too. Lots of it. All right, I think that should be more than enough sunflowers. And if it's not, then we know where to find them. I think I've got everything I need, so I'm gonna head back to my base. Whoa. Flower forest. Well, it's handy to know that this is here. And sorry, I just can't help myself. I gotta grab some of these tulips. All right, now I'm going back home, I swear. You know, while I was walking back to my base, I just had the thought, why didn't I bring Magic Horse with me? I kind of always forget that's an option. Once I had gotten back to the base, I still had a little bit of time left in the day, so I continued to decorate the paths. And that brings us into day 80. Day 80? Are you for real? Time has flown by so fast, but also look at how much we've accomplished. I think this actually might be one of the most building I've done over the course of 100 days. It's definitely thanks to these efficient tools though. I don't think I would have been able to accomplish as much as I did if it wasn't for these things. So pretty much all of the pathing is done. Now the next thing that I want to work on is some more crop fields. The ones we made earlier on made such a big difference, so I think I'd like to make some more. We've got a lot of space right over here that would lend well to some of these. Now the only thing is this area has a little bit too sharp of an edge. So I think I'm going to spend the morning rounding it off a little bit. There we go. I think that's looking a lot better. Plus, it provides us with a good amount of space to make another plot. So how about we spend some time building one of those? Now the question is, do I have any more stone for that? Got a little bit of cobble, but not much stone left. So I think that means we've got to make another trip down into the mines to collect some resources. So I pretty much spent the rest of the day collecting up as much stone as I could and then burning it up in the lava farm. I just wanted to make sure I had enough for the remainder of our projects. All of that caving brought us into day 81. So I've got quite a bit of stone burning in the furnaces, but there's one more thing that I'm missing. Kind of running out of mossy cobblestone. I think if we spend the time taking one more trip out to the giant taiga, then we should probably have enough for the rest of our builds. All right, this is it, the last journey to that taiga. Feels kind of weird to be saying that. And there she is. All right, we grab as much mossy cobble as we can, and then we get out of here. I don't really think we need anything from the Lush caves. Might just be a bit of a waste of time, to be honest. So I'm just gonna work away at collecting some mossy cobble and ooh, maybe some coarse dirt as well. That way I don't have to keep constantly making it with gravel and dirt. So I spent the entire day in the taiga gathering up resources. It's a beautiful morning in the taiga on day 82, and I grabbed a lot of mossy cobble. I figured since I have quite a few more fields and gardens to frame up that I might end up actually using more than I realize. So hopefully this should be more than enough for our projects. Alright, let's get back home. Look at this cozy base. It feels good to be back. So with an inventory absolutely full of every type of stone that we need, I think we can begin plotting out these gardens. Alright, there's our first one ready to go, and I think I'm gonna frame out another field by this horse stable as well. I had mentioned before that I want a wheat field in this area, so I'm gonna make this plot a lot bigger than the other one. Alright, how's this looking? Yeah, I think the shape of that is perfect. I almost lost track of time. I didn't realize it had gotten late so soon. I think I gotta head to bed. And here we are on to day 83. So with the shapes all set in place for our fields, I think I can begin decorating them. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing that I did with the other ones by adding stairs, stone walls, and slabs. You know what? I think we can finally get rid of this field over here. It served us well, but it is no longer needed. And now I can patch up this spot so the wall's not hanging off of a cliff. There we go, that's a lot better. And now I can add some details to this side of the wall so it's not looking as flat. And I think this is looking good. So with all that work taking me into nighttime, I decided to head to bed. And that brings us into day 84. So with the walls all in place, I think I can begin planting these fields. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and start with the wheat field. Before I do anything else though, let me fill this patch in really quickly. It's kind of just awkwardly sitting here since it's a little bit too small, and I think it would look better if everything was just flat. There we go, much better. Oh, and I almost forgot. I didn't put up any of this oak fencing. Alright, for real this time, I think we're ready to go with planting this field. So I started things off by getting some spots of water to hydrate the ground. Once that was all done, I was able to till the land. Now the last time I planted out these fields, I planted the seeds before I did any of the decorations, and it was a little tricky to navigate. So this time around, I think I'm gonna do the decorations first. Now first and foremost, I think we definitely need another one of those pumpkin guys. Maybe even two. All right, and let's get it placed right here. Never gets old. Well, now that I've got the most important fixtures in place, all I have to do is add a couple of rock piles, maybe a few tufts of leaves, and I think we're good to go. I think we made some pretty good progress today, but of course, I better head to bed. Day 85, and it is time to get this field planted. I'm telling ya, once these seeds are all planted and grown, it is gonna look so good. Right, every single seed that needs to be here is all in place, and now we just have to wait for it to grow. So while we wait for this field to grow, I think we can get started on the one over here. Now I collected all of those sunflowers the other day, and I'm kind of thinking they would look really nice in this plot. We definitely need to switch the grass out with coarse dirt though, because the contrast with the yellow sunflowers and the coarse dirt is gonna look so good. So let's pop in all of this coarse dirt, and let's just spam this area with sunflowers. Ooh, you know what else might look good in here? Some spruce leaves. Actually no, I take that back. That looks pretty terrible. It just looks like a little bit too clunky and overgrown with these. I think a better idea would actually be to do something similar to what we did with the rose garden, and that would be placing smaller flowers. All right, how's this looking? Ooh, fancy. I mean, it doesn't look as good when you're facing this way, but when you're facing the sunflowers, boy, oh boy, does this look majestic. I feel like I could frolic through these forever. How does this look on free cam though? Yeah, I kind of wish they faced a different direction because those sunflowers are stunning. But you know what's weird? I don't actually hate them when they're faced this way. They almost look like corn stalks. So either way, I think it's a vibe. All right, we got a little bit of time left in the day, and I think what I'm gonna do for the rest of the evening is expand this path out a bit. I noticed a good spot where the path could circle around the base over in this direction, so I think I'd like to make that connection. We've been having to do a bunch of decorating around this base as of late, and honestly, I love this part. All of these little details help make everything just come together and feel so much more alive. Whoa! What just happened? That dude took some serious air. You know what's funny? I've been here for like 80 days, and I haven't seen you at all. I was actually starting to get worried. But it's past my bedtime and it's raining, so I'm leaving you out in the dark. Sorry, dude. Day 86, and no. Dude, I'm not having any of that. You are not trampling these crops. It took me so long to build out that field. You know what? I heard you love to wander. So how about I help you out and get you to wander this way? Yo, those llamas are zooming. It's a little bit awkward. It's kind of like a dead end over here. You know what? This should be fine for you, huh? What do you think? All right, bye. Have fun. Good luck with your travels and all that stuff. All right, now that he's gone, I think I'm gonna continue the day working on these paths. I really just want to make sure everything's connected nicely around here. All right, most of the details are in place and I got a little bit of extra time. So I think I can get a couple of these lampposts in place. There we go, that's just so much better lit. It's a fresh new day on day 87 and everything's looking so nice around here. Yeah, all of these fields have made such a big difference. I think I'd like to get one around the farmland as well, but we also have a couple spots of dead space around here. And honestly, we could do pretty much anything we want with these spaces. We could add little storage carts, wells, trees. So I think we spend the day decorating some of these patches. Now the first thing I might try out is a couple of trees. Not too many because they're mostly just going to be aesthetic, so I think a couple here and there should do the trick. And also, if they don't look great, we can always get rid of them. Next up, around the farmland, I think we could get away with adding in some storage carts and some barrel piles. Oh, one of the trees grew in. Yeah, it's such a small thing, but I actually feel like it makes a huge difference. We were just lacking a little bit of greenery throughout, so I think that kind of helps. Plus, maybe what we could do here is add a nice little spot to sit. Cozy. With the sun beginning to set, I added in a couple extra details here and there, and then I went to bed. And that brings us into day 88. Now today I think I'd like to focus on getting another field in place. Ideally, I'd like to surround more of this farmland with wheat fields. The only problem is we're lacking a little bit of space here and there. So I think before we do anything else, I've got to widen out some of these areas. Ooh, this shovel's getting pretty low. All right, with this area all terraformed, I think this should be more than enough room. So that means I can probably start placing some of these stone walls. Just gotta top up on our bricks though. Honestly, walking through this area is so nice. These trees added so much. I feel like I could just stroll around this base forever. But I can't because I gotta fill in this wall. So with a little bit of daylight left, I got to work placing a stone wall for the field. Day 89 and we have a full day ahead of us planting seeds. So I outlined the space for where I want the field to go, and I think this is the perfect amount of space. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started tilling all the land first, and then we'll finish detailing the walls later. Pretty much the entirety of this day was spent making water holes and tilling land. This was a pretty big field to work on, so it took quite a bit of time. By the time evening was coming around, I had finished tilling the field, so I spent the remainder of the daylight that I had left filling in the walls. And that brings me into day 90 where I have to plant a lot of seeds today. I feel like for such a monumental day, I should be doing something a little bit cooler than this. Also, why does this keep happening? I'm pretty sure the same thing happened around day 70 or 80 as well. Ah, that's okay. At least we get to spend the day outside in the nice cool weather. Speaking of placing seeds, I kind of forgot that I should be planting the leaves and all of the decorations before this. So that actually made it way easier last time. I kept the decorations in this field pretty simple by adding rock piles and bales of hay. Once I was done with the decorations, I went back to planting seeds for the rest of the day. And that brings us into day 91 where we began the morning with, you guessed it, planting more seeds. The good news is I'm pretty much halfway there with planting these. And honestly, this is just gonna make the area around the farmland look so nice. So it's definitely worth it. Oh no, I think I'm out of seeds. No! That's all right, we've got a full field over here. Hey, what are you doing in here, huh? You shouldn't be in here. And you're wrecking the farmland too. All right, I ripped apart a good portion of this field, and I think this might get us by for the rest of the field below. I hope so anyway. Yes, I did it. It's finally complete. We've got ourselves an entire wheat field around the farmland. And honestly, I think this is gonna look really good once it grows in. Once I was done filling the field in, I still had a little bit of time left in the day, so I worked on adding detail to the retaining wall. So it's day 92 and the wall is all complete around the field. I cannot wait for all this wheat to grow in because I think it's gonna look so good. Now, the very last thing I wanna do is plant a little tree right about here. That should help fill in this space nicely. So with that all done, we pretty much have a full day ahead of us. And I was kind of thinking that maybe I could sneak in one more build. We've got our very good friend Todd over here, who's just been chilling at the side of this river the whole time. And I feel like our boy Todd needs a dock to hang out at. If I'm gonna build this though, I think I'm gonna need to top up on some resources. So how about we make one last trip over to this tree farm and gather up some wood. Check out the view from up here though. This is looking so cool. I am feeling very accomplished with this base. All right, and since I think this is gonna be our last run that we're doing for resources, I'm not gonna replant these trees. That feels really weird to me. I'm gonna miss you, tree farm. You served me very well. Last but not least, I'm gonna spend some time gathering up a little bit more oak as well. Alright, I think this should be enough wood to get us through for one more build. So with everything ready to go for our next project, I decided to head to bed for the night. And that brings us into a beautiful morning on day 93. So if we're gonna build a boat dock down here for Todd, I think the first thing we need to do is draw a path over to it. I feel like it would be cool if we had a house that kind of half rests on the land and then goes out into the river a little bit with a dock. You again? Didn't I get rid of you last time? Over there. You escaped. You must have gotten lost trying to find your way anywhere but here. Don't worry, this time I'll make sure to bring you out a little bit further away. How's here? Good? Okay, bye. Safe travels. Now that he's gone, let's get back to working on this build. Alright, I've got a small little structure for the house all ready to go, and now we just need to attach a little fishing dock to this thing. Todd's like one of my best friends, so this thing has to be perfect. We only want the best for this guy. Working on the fishing hut brought me into day 94. Todd, we better get a move on here. We're running out of time. Alright, so the dock's all in place, which is great. But, I think this thing needs a roof. Nothing too fancy, just a simple one will do. Once the roof was all in place, I added a chimney and some leaves to it. And now that the structure is in place, we can decorate this thing a little bit more. I feel like it would be super cute and cozy if we had a nice little fireplace in here. Next, we need some window coverings, a door for the outside. I don't think I'm gonna put one on this side though, because I kind of like having it open. And of course, Todd could use some storage in here. Certainly not for me to throw my junk in here, that's for sure. I didn't do that, that wasn't me. By the time evening came around, I put a couple more decorations down and then I went to bed. It's day 95 and the interior of Todd's cabin is all decorated. I added a nice little painting, a bed, some storage. We've got ourselves a cozy fireplace, and there is a skeleton in the river. Ow! What are you even doing in here, huh? Now before we move Todd in, I just have to add a couple more things to the outside of the cabin. We definitely could use a couple lanterns, maybe a little storage pile or two. And I think the very last thing we need for this build are some fish barrels. And the way that I make these are actually with copper. So if we toss this all into a crafting table and combine it, then we get a block of raw copper. And in vanilla Minecraft, if you pop one down here, then place some trapdoors next to it, it kind of looks like a barrel of fish. Now this texture doesn't look like it's so much. Kind of looks like zombie brains. But hey, I still think it looks kind of neat. So let's maybe pop down one more here. And there we go. Our fishing hut is all done. Now Todd, I know you've been watching me build this thing day in and day out, but are you ready to see your surprise? All right, let's go check it out. Ta-da! What do you think, buddy? It's your very own fishing hut. You can fish from here, you can read a book, you can browse the internet, although the internet's kind of bad here. I think we're gonna have to work on that one. You were my first buddy here, Todd, so I had to get you a nice place, even if it is 90 days later. All right, buddy, I'm on day 95 and I've got some work to do, so I'm just gonna leave you here to relax. And I think that's a job well done. So with only a couple days left here, I think I'd like to spend the rest of my time fixing up the base. We've still got a few patches where we could add some grass, trees, decorations, and also, oh, I almost forgot about this wall that I was gonna build. Well, maybe we can spend the rest of the day working on this. If I wanna get a wall in here though, I'm gonna have to cook up a little bit more stone. I surprisingly went through that heap of cobble that I had collected last time. All right, so I've been collecting cobble and running back up to burn some of it, and I think I might have enough stone to at least get the shape started. So I worked away for the rest of the night, figuring out the shape for the decorative wall. On the morning of day 96, I continued working on the wall. All right, the shape of this thing is looking good. Now we just need a couple little details, and then it's pretty much done. And there we go, the wall's all done, the path's all connected, and that's another thing checked off of our list. Now, while I was building out this area, I noticed that this space kind of goes out into the void, and I feel like framing it with some trees would look really nice. So we'll just let these grow and hopefully that does the trick. And as for other spots around this base that could do with a couple of trees, I was thinking maybe planting a couple here as well. If they end up being a little bit too much in the way, we can simply just remove them. Let's see how this base is looking though. This is looking so cool. I love it. We are not done yet though. Another thing that I wanted to do was bone meal some of the areas around the base. There's a lot of spots without grass here. I think we could do with just a little bit of texture. All right, I'm all out of bone meal, but I think that looks a lot better. Even though I only brought in a little bit, you can kind of see the difference in the patches that I added it. Now, I would like to add a little bit more, but since I don't have any more bone meal, I think I'm gonna have to go shear some grass. That's okay though, because we have a giant plains behind us with a ton of it. So I spent the rest of the day gathering and placing grass. Day 97, and wow, how are we on day 97? So everything around this base is looking really good. I've filled in pretty much all of the patches with grass. We've got all of these extra trees planted, but I think we could probably get away with adding a couple more extra details. I was kind of thinking that I never actually had a chance to make a well yet, and I feel like that's kind of a must for a medieval style base. So I think I'm gonna plop the first one right around here, and we'll just do a nice and simple one made out of stone and some wood. Then we just gotta grab some water to fill it up, pop that in here, drop a chain down into the water, and draw a path over to it. I think if we have this well here, we don't necessarily need these leaves anymore because it's a big enough structure to stand alone like this. Honestly, we might not even need this lamppost here either. Yeah, I think that's perfect. So we've got one up here over for the town, and I feel like the farmland could use one as well. So I'm gonna try out a double cauldron, maybe with some trapdoors around it, then oak logs on the side with the cover like this. Guess we could also add a chain to it like this and draw one little path that goes over here. Oh, and water, of course. And I think that looks super cute. So with everything done for the day, I didn't really have much to do at night, so I organized my storage a bit and went to bed. And that brings us into day 98. How are we here? Somebody please explain it to me. All right, so everything around this base is looking super fresh. Now, except there's one glaring problem here. I have a lot of iron golems around, and yeah, they just look so lost and helpless and bored. Oh my, look at how many are here too. Even oh, that's not good. I have created such a problem. So, I kind of think the best bet is to boat some of these villagers just far away. Hello, villagers. I think you all gotta go. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. That's not what I was expecting because now I can't get in the boat, but here, let me break that for you. So I got one, but I'm gonna break this open. The others are just gonna leave. This might just end up being a disaster, honestly. All right, you, my good sir, you're going far away. I don't know where, but you gotta get out of here. You know what? Is this ridiculous? I don't know what to do with these villagers. Do I just let them go free? Oh, there's a lot in here too. Go. Be free. Run away from the zombie. It's fine. Go on. Get out of here. Scram if you know what's good for you. You know what? I think I'm just going to accept defeat on this one and let them roam free. Well, with these iron golems, I think I'm just going to patch this up and pretend this never happened. Now, as for the rest of these guys, sorry. This is certainly a type of cleanup that I honestly didn't think I would have to do, but here I am. Well, all the other ones are still hanging out over here, not really interacting with the base. So I think they should be fine. After dealing with all of the iron golems, I didn't really have that much else to do for the day, so I organized some of my belongings again and went to bed. And just like that, we are on to day 99. Feels so weird to say that. This is pretty much the last full day to wrap up projects. And I think I've got a pretty good one in mind. So all of our friends on this base have a home. Beatrice lives in the starter house. Majestic Horse lives over in the stable. We've got our boy Todd over at his fishing dock. But poor old Printer doesn't have a spot for himself. Now I was thinking maybe today we could build a nice little dog house for him. Now where would be a good spot for that? Really, we just need a small little space for it. What about right here by this birch tree? So maybe what we could do is make this thing out of a combination of trapdoors and slabs. So we can do a little space like this, and maybe get a little roof up kind of like this. Thunderstorm? No! This is the very last day that I can do stuff! Minecraft, why? All right, the doghouse is pretty much done minus one last thing that I need. I just need one piece of leather, and finally I need to find a skeleton. I mean, since there's a thunderstorm, there should be one close by. Oh, there's one. Perfect. Oh no, there is a charged creeper around there. I actually think I should just lure him away from my base and get him to blow up over here. Because if he does any damage to it, I will be so sad. Maybe this guy will take him out for me. All right, dude. Oh, I actually got him. That could have been so bad. All right, the very last thing that I need to do here is make an item frame. Grab good old printer over here. Come on, buddy. You like steak, don't you? And let's bring him over to this house. There we go, buddy. Let's get a little bone placed right here for you. And look at that. You've got your very own little doghouse. What you think? Do you like it? So all of our friends that we made along the way officially have their own spots. Now this was a very eventful last day, so I think I'm gonna pack it in for the night. Pretty sure we've done everything that we need to do around here, and I'm excited to do a nice little walkthrough in the morning. And just like that, we are on to day 100. I can't believe how much we've accomplished for this base. I said this before, but I got so lucky with my tool enchantments, and I think that's what really helped me gather everything so quickly so I could just focus on building. This is definitely the most I've ever built in 100 days. But wow, this base turned out so nice, and it is everything I ever dreamed of when I challenged myself to building a cozy fall base. So let's take a little look around, shall we? Now, of course, our adventure started off with this quaint little starter home. It kept us safe during early game, plus we had a little bit of storage, plus Beatrice got a cozy little spot to live in as well. Next up was our lava farm. This made collecting stone for my project so much easier. And of course we built this cozy upstairs living space, or the bed is gone now because I had to use it somewhere else. But this was a really nice little spot. After that, I think we put up this villager house, right? And although I actually didn't really end up using the villagers that much, I still really like how this build looks within the base. Oh, and I almost forgot. If we go on through this pathway over here, that brings us to our mining outpost. And this helped a ton not only in gathering diamonds, but also different materials like stone and granite. Then, of course, we've got our little garden plots, and I think these are some of my favorite things that I added to this area. Like I said, the cozy fall meter went up by like 100%. So after our little garden plots, we've got our storage room, which of course helped me out so much. After doing a few of these 100 days, I have learned that making a nice storage house is very, very important if you want to be efficient. Always stay organized. Now from the storage house, we walk along this quaint little path where we can stop at our nice little well, take a view of this beautiful field with our fancy scarecrows, and that brings us over to this barn, which honestly, I actually think this is one of my favorite builds at this base. I love the look of the interior of the barn. It's just super cozy, and I'm also happy I made an indoor and outdoor space for the cows. And if we wind down this part, we've got our cute little quaint sheep farm, and scattered throughout the farmland, of course, we've got the well, and a little bit of decoration here and there. And that brings us over to our fishing hut. Todd, you didn't think I'd forget about you, huh? I could never. We use this river a ton, so I just wanted to make sure I had a little build that reflected that. And of course, Todd needed a place to chill, obviously. Coming up from the fishing dock, that brings us over to our horse stable. I am obsessed with the detailing. Plus, it seems like Majestic Horse is having the best time ever in here. So if we leave the horse stable, that of course brings us over to Printer, and we all know how this went because it only happened yesterday. But it looks like Homie's having the best time in his new spot. Oh, and one last thing. I almost forgot because this was tucked away in the forest. Here's our little enchanting house. Well, not so little, it's actually pretty big. So we've got our enchanting spot here and a cozy little reading nook. And that's pretty much it. Again, I just gotta say that I am so shocked with how much I was able to build over this course of 100 days. I wanted to challenge myself to build the coziest fall base that I could, and I think this exceeded my expectations. Not only did I build a ton of really cool things, but I also built in a style that I don't typically build in. All right, everyone, I think this is gonna be the end of our adventure. Thank you all so much for coming along with me on this journey. I had such a blast, and I hope you did too. Let me know how you liked the video, and if you did, please consider subscribing because it really helps out the channel. And with that, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!